And now, live from the Man Cave, Studio B, deep in the heart of constitutional Livingston County, Michigan, on a Tuesday night Irish weekend rant. Tonight, co-host Patrick Action and yours truly, Larry Parsons. This is my brain. That's going to kill me for that one. And now, your host, the man that puts this show together, just so you can enjoy it. Jeremy Scott Gibbs. You got it? Oh, there it is.
But apparently if I push that button, it shuts off the other audio. That's dumb. Overlay. All right, what? Oh, there you go. I don't know why it switched the way it switched. I had everything working just fine. Of course, we don't have any microphones on. I don't know why it switched the way it did. I had everything working fine. I don't think your mic's not on, Patrick. Let's do this. Let's bring us back. There's the fish. Let's bring us back real quick here. Well, not real quick, but nice and slow. Nice and slow. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful table shot. Beautiful. Welcome, everybody.
Yes, welcome.
Coffee's been dealing with some health issues. Hopefully he's getting better. But yeah. I see Dale's in the chat. See, there's a few other people. No, we're not putting up the 2A flag back up here. Thanks, though. Turkey Palooza. Not doing it. Good day, chat, says the Baron. All right. I think we're good to go, gentlemen.
2A flag. It's a 2A flag.
Oh, when some other guests were on and doing their own promotions.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
All right.
Well, welcome to the show. I am trashed from the weekend, as you can tell.
Can hardly talk.
My voice is pretty shot. But that's all right. I had we played here at the Man Cave, and then we played. The band played here at the Man Cave. Patrick was here.
Yes.
And then I played myself solo over at the Cozy Inn from 1 to 4 o'clock on Monday. And then I played from 6 to 9 o'clock at Wings Etc. in Heartland. And my buddy Dean McBride was gracious enough to join me there and sing with me.
Didn't know you were playing there.
Yeah, I thought I sent you the.
Yeah,
I did, but it was late.
You said that. Yeah, I thought it was just get together and have some wings at the.
Oh, okay.
Well, he told me some guy kept badgering him at the.
There was
bar.
this. You know how people are. They're like, play. Freebird, play Freebird. I had like 6 or 7 people throughout the day ask me to play Freebird. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
But then there was this one guy, beard and a hat, plaid shirt with a vest, leather vest, black leather vest. And he's just like, play some Journey. Where's the keyboard? Play some Journey. Can't you play some Journey? I'm like, I don't know who you are, dude, but shut the fuck up. I censored myself there because we just started the show. But anyways, I had a good time, jammed out. I'm going to start doing that more and more of these little solo gigs. But the band also is band's going to be working on being more and more available. So
good.
And so we're going to do that. So St. Patrick's Day. But before we do that, dinner tonight. I decided to pull out some pork chops, a little corn on the cob.
Yeah, asparagus. It was really good.
Some scalloped potatoes, mushrooms, and Patrick's signature salad.
Yeah.
So that was some good stuff. What color am I choosing tonight? You know what? I'm going with the green.
Green.
Going with the green.
St. Patty's Day.
You want the light green?
I'll take whatever green you got.
Well, you pick those two. I've got the dark green.
I'll take this one.
So we're in attendance. Dean was going to try to make it with us. As of yesterday, he was going to be here. And
Last night you beat him up too much.
I beat him up. He texted me and he's like, I can't do it tonight, boss. I need to get some rest. I'm like, okay, buddy. All right, I get it. Yeah, Dale, drunken karaoke on Saturday night. And I was even pacing myself. But, by what it was, Sunday, I didn't feel good. And it wasn't like a straight hangover. It was just not, I felt like I had the flu. Hangover is different. You got a pounding headache and stuff. This felt like more like the flu. So I took it easy, and I got a few things that I do when I'm not feeling good. And I was not sure that I was going to be able to go on Monday. And I got up and got around and started working on my voice and just warming up throughout the morning. And by noon when I headed over to the show, I was good. Pipes were good. I was feeling good. And I felt good but I'll tell you what, by the time I was done yesterday at Wings, even after the second set, I walked over to some hockey buddies that came up there, and I'm like, how you guys doing? They're like, how are you even singing? I'm like, there are techniques. Okay. This is what you get when it's natural, and I can't do anything about it. But when I have to get up there and sing, you can push through it a little bit easier. So anyways, good dinner tonight.
Awesome dinner.
Just the three of us. We're hanging out. It's all good. But I'm gonna bring you guys. I need to bring you out a little bit more. You're a little tight in the shot. Ooh. No, I'm gonna slide it out. There we go. And I'll go that way. That's a little fast. I was expecting that to go that fast. And we got. Is it my pack?
Yeah, I'm hearing a little background noise. Is it mine?
It is yours. You know what? I'm having trouble with that one. I may have to change that frequency. Tell you what, Patrick, I'll grab it. I'm clipped on. We'll swap you for number 4. This happened the other night when we were doing the interview, or last Tuesday when we were doing an interview. Butterfingers.
So did you hear Heartland School Board has a new job position opening? They are looking for a propaganda minister.
Nice.
Yes.
As well they should.
They are looking for somebody to spin everything that the school board is doing that the people don't like. And it's about $100,000 a year position.
Not 250 like Chucky?
No, it's about $100,000 all in with all the benefits and everything. I think the salary is right around $75,000, but it comes with all the benefits for it. And all you got to do is lie to everybody, lie to all the parents, and spin everything that the board does that the people of the community are against.
Nice.
Here's a guy that can do it right here.
He's armless.
The guy that's got no arms, right?
Armless man.
Yeah.
Larry, they're asking in the chat if you have your assless chaps on.
I'm going to ignore that. I am not a Democrat.
Sounds like friends of yours. All right, let's get to these disclaimers. I did not load up Grandma, so I'm going to do Grandma tonight. That sound right? I'm going to do the notice.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Oh, it's up. But this is how out of it I am right now. Well, feed. There we go. Notice this podcast is raw, unfiltered, and completely politically incorrect. We say Merry Christmas and the Pledge of Allegiance, especially the part about one nation under God. We thank our troops for their service. We recognize 2 genders, only 2 genders. One has a dangle, the other does not. As adults, we enjoy adult beverages. We've got a beverage tonight we're going to enjoy in a little bit. We cuss, we do not curse or swear. We love Jesus, but hate religion and religious hypocrites. If any of this offends you, you can leave.
Just leave.
Just leave.
Yeah, if you're offended by our show by now, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Well, we get new people. We get new subscribers every week.
Yes.
People pick up the show. Let's see here. I'm gonna go with this one, and I gotta do that one. Go ahead, Patrick.
I would challenge you to a battle of wits, but I can clearly see that you are unarmed.
And you've got your unarmed guy.
No arms, man.
I'm gonna go to that. There. Yep. Let me zoom in. Let me hit the zoom and see if it goes to you. Oh yeah, look at that. The unarmed man. That's one of my former keychains for my truck, and I started using them. So I would have the whole keychain on my keys for my truck because my truck's a Stormtrooper, and I started losing the arms. Like they'd be dangling around and I'd catch on something, and the arms would come off on these guys. So I started doing this, where I just have the head now on the. Where's my camera at, Larry? Where's it at? There. So I just have the head now on the keychains, and there's two little bodies, Stormtrooper bodies, hidden in a little box in the truck.
Just in case.
Just in case. Well, they're lights.
Oh, okay.
Has anybody lately
lights.
Has anybody heard from our friend Laszlo lately?
I seen him post a couple things. I think I talked to him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
We
got to get that guy back on. He's a good man.
Anyways, yes, I am the host and the tech support. So when things are bad, blame me. When things are good, blame me.
Well, the resident earwig is now moving out to Utah or something like that.
Yeah. So it's all good. Okay. We were getting to these. Larry's over there playing with this dinghy as usual. Larry, let's go with this, buddy.
Ooh.
And
a new one.
Yeah.
Well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the free state. The right of the people to keep bear arms shall not be infringed. That is the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution. It was issued on December 15th, 1791, and it doesn't expire.
It expires when you pry it from my cold, dead hands.
This says there's an expiration date. What does
Never.
it say?
Never.
It expires never.
Never.
Expires never.
Never.
It does not expire.
Did you hear the little discussion that's going on? There was a little bit of a discussion about the Second Amendment, and Trump wants it's floating out there, and that Trump wants to restore Second Amendment rights to any felons that have served their whole time and done their.
Unless somebody can show me where in the Constitution it says once you're a felon you can never own a firearm again, I would support Trump 100. That says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Right.
It doesn't say unless you're a felon.
Right.
It doesn't say unless you're not 21.
Right.
It doesn't say unless you get a gun permit.
Right.
It doesn't say unless you get a concealed carry permit.
Does it come down then to the idea of what the people are, we the people? Because somehow they were able to exclude the African Americans or those people of African descent, the black people in this nation. They excluded them from citizenship.
Yeah, but that was done through a series of bad court rulings.
It was horrible.
It wasn't done through the Constitution has always protected everybody.
Correct.
It's the courts that have construed it to mean things that it never did.
They're trying to do now.
Which what they're trying. We see it all the time. It's called liberal activism.
And you think about it from that dynamic, it's often completely mislabeled, but it was on the right side of the table, not the Democrat side, but the right side of the table, that they said we'll only consider the non-citizen black people that are here as 3/5 of a person. Well, and they took that as oh, you don't consider them. No, the Democrats wanted to include them in all the census so that they could use those numbers to get seats in the House and Senate, but they didn't want to give them full voter rights and citizenry. And the compromise was, if you're not gonna count or give them full citizenry and full rights, then we're only going to count them at 3/5 of a person. So they were cutting out 40% of the voting block. Not the voting block, but the census block that they wanted.
See, I was always taught that was taxation was why they
Well, it all comes into it. Once you do the
Yeah.
census, that's why they wanted to include all of these illegals
did. Right.
in there, because then they could get more of the tax revenue kicked back to them. They could get
Well, it's not only that,
voting.
but, right. When it comes to the censuses and all these illegals, if Democrats are able to count all these illegals, they're able to get extra congressmen
Right, exactly right.
for those areas and get and then
Yeah, I guess extra seats.
and get extra seats on the floor.
And that's
right,
what
and more control. And see, that's what it's about, and
Right.
that's what I've been trying to tell people. So it's all about power, and the Democrats maintaining power. They don't give two flying fucks, pardon my language, about the Constitution, about the American people, or about this country. They care about one thing and one thing only, and that's how do we keep the Democrats in power.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. That's all. They don't
They
care,
don't care about anything
who
else.
they kill. They don't care what they destroy. It's all about power.
Well, and Dale's saying that they've slowly made us subjects, and I get that completely. I'm wondering if it comes down to that a lot of the black slaves were imported, but then they're having kids as slaves. So how do those kids, get counted? What does that happen? So I mean, if they're not a natural born on the continent, or within the United States, does it fall into those? I haven't dove into that depth of it to look at it.
I've never dove into that either. It's so unimaginable.
Yeah.
The things that transpired back in those days, the slavery, the mistreatment of human beings.
It's horrible.
Look at how slavery in the Bible compares. And I have Democrats bring this up to me. Well, slavery is okay in the Bible. Well, you know what? Back off a minute. That was more like an indentured servitude. That wasn't, do what I say or I'm going to whip you. That was like, I owe you some money, so I'm going to send you my son to work for you for a year. Right? That's the kind of slavery that the Bible talks about.
There was some bad cases, but you're right. The predominant slavery there was because there were provisions within it that if you served your time, paid back your debt, whatever that debt was, that you could, they would take you and put your ear against the door post or the door framing of the house, and they would take a nail and they would drive the nail into your ear and it would pierce your ear. And that meant that you fulfilled your obligation, but you pledged yourself now to your slave master, but your owner, and you were actually free, but now you were a part of the family. You became part of the family. That's why Abraham has a discussion with God. He goes, this guy, my chief of my guards, is going to inherit my house because you haven't given me a son. So you're right that what they talk about their abuse is all the way around, of course.
Yeah, right.
But you're right. When they mix it together and they
and a lot of
muddy the waters.
A lot of the things people forget about too is not every slave owner in America throughout American history, or the slave owners in the South, they weren't all the same either.
Right.
Some of them were extra horrible.
Some were extra horrible.
And some of them were extra lenient.
Yeah. Well, and you look at the cases of Washington and Jefferson and a few of the other founding fathers that owned slaves. They tried everything they could to free them, but because of the way the laws were set up, they were tied to the property that they owned. And if they would have tried to there wasn't a proper way under the codes to release them. That's why the Emancipation Proclamation that Lincoln eventually brought forward was so powerful, because it did away with any of that chattel slavery that was going on. But look at the case. They try to vilify so horribly Jefferson. And if you look at the case, when Jefferson's wife passed away, Jefferson ended up being with one of his slave girls. And by all accounts, she was, had full run of the place. There was no of this, the horrible depictions that we get of slavery, which were real and legitimate. There were the other cases where people, there were multiple people that were granted their freedoms and stayed.
That's correct.
And they were
what they were used to.
Correct. Well, not just what they were used to, but they knew the people that owned them, that no longer own them, had treated them extremely well, even under that shitty system.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up next. That not every captive slave left when they saved their freedom. Some
Right.
of them decided that life that where they were wasn't so bad. I sat down. I had a conversation with a friend of mine once. He's a black man. He told me, he said, I know the history of the country, and I know the slavery aspect of things, but when you look at things today and you look at how many hours we work, we're taxed on this, we're taxed on that. If you want to go fishing,
Mhm.
you got to get a license.
Yep.
If you want to go on a boat, you got a license to boat. You got
Yeah.
a license to drive the boat, and a license to drive a car,
Yep.
a license to pull the boat to the water. Then you got to pay the launch fee. Back in the day, you just took a boat, you threw it in the water, you rowed out to the middle of the lake, and you fished with your son. Who was more free?
100%. Well, and that's
that's a point that he was an older guy. He was quite a bit older than me. I think this conversation happened when I was in my early 30s.
right.
So you're talking over 30 years ago, and he was an old man at the time.
And we didn't have the regulations that we have now
Right.
back then. And so that goes back to what Dale's saying in the chat, that we've slowly made us subjects.
Right.
A license for this, a license for that,
Well, I mean, that's what you got to look at. I mean, the Constitution guarantees us the right to free travel. But
Yet we can get pulled over by a
But what happens why do you sign a driver's license? What's the whole point of a license? What does that word even mean?
license.
What is a license? Is a document that allows you to do something that you normally wouldn't be allowed to do.
Correct. So they have to make it illegal to travel.
Right.
They have to make it illegal to own a business.
Right.
They have to make it illegal.
Illegal to drive a car, illegal to drive a truck, illegal to go hunting, illegal to go fishing,
And then
illegal to get married.
Right.
You can't go to work without having a contractor's license, builder's license.
Correct. I resisted for a long time and worked under other builders as a subcontractor.
And if you're a judge or a lawyer, you have to have that alliance with the Bar Association. You have that BARS card, which I've always had a problem with the BARS card.
Why? Because it's the British Association of Registry?
No, because who are they loyal to? Are they loyal to the people they work for?
No.
Or are they loyal to the people that hold the bar card over their head?
Hey, we've got some lawyers that are friends of the show that have been frequent guests, and I would never throw shade on them, but I think lawyers in general, I think they should have to sign an agreement if they're going to take a case for their client and charge the amounts that they charge.
Yeah.
If your client goes to jail, you go with them.
Yeah.
They'll find every possible thing that they can find.
Well, it's like that gentleman that was here a week ago, Jeremy.
Yeah.
You paid $700 an hour to a guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's astronomical.
And ended up firing him because he was copying and pasting from other cases, and he could see the errors that he didn't even change names. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I like some of the chats in there, but let's finish up with this, guys. I'm never going to go to anything that I'm going to do. Let's do this.
Never.
Ready? Never apologize and never explain. It's a sign of weakness.
Are your feelings hurt?
Oh.
Down.
Oh, girl,
They're
baby,
back.
girl.
Oh, really? Baby? Oh, they cannot take the words.
There's another motion to strike her words again.
Girl, I don't think
We are gonna move, and we're gonna take your words down.
I'm not apologizing.
Well, then
Okay,
you're
reserve
not
the right to
striking your
object.
words.
I am
You're
not
nerve-wracking.
apologizing.
Chair recognizes Ms. Green.
I repeat again for the second time. Yes, I'll strike
right.
my words,
That-
but I'm not
all right.
apologizing.
Without objection. Without
Not
objection.
apologizing.
Chair
Reserving the right to
recognize-
object.
No, let's go.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Well, there you go.
Democrats always wanted to argue.
I moved the switcher over here.
Yeah, that's a good thing to have the switcher over here, actually.
I want to see what I've got here. Let me see. Oh, there's films here. You know why I did that? Because I'm really smart.
Yes.
Check out the big brain on Brad. You're a smart motherfucker. That's right.
I think it got a little, we used them less when it was over there because I couldn't always see when Tim was pushing a button,
Yeah.
you know, so it got muddied sometimes when we were doing it. But I'm over here, I can always look at everybody and go, push a button.
Well, what's nice is with you there, if you have a thought that's coming up that you're about to make a point, you can play while you're making a point. You can choose to play that sound
Correct.
where he wouldn't have known.
Well, like when Larry drops an F-bomb. Oh, and it doesn't work. How about this one?
And it doesn't work.
Now they're stuck. Well, all right. So much for that. I guess it crashed. I got 3 of them.
You got 3 of them before it crashed?
Yeah. It's all right. I got the yay
Yeah.
when you were announcing. I got the Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then I got the big brain on Brad.
I do. You know what? I like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think she's an incredible woman. It's like I was watching. Speaking of women, I was watching. What's his name? Bill Maher over the weekend. I saw him in a couple videos, and he was talking to somebody that was pushing. I think it was Don Lemon.
Lemonhead?
He was talking. Yeah, he was talking to Don Lemon.
Worst reporter
who was pushing
of the year.
AOC as leadership for the Republican Party.
Republican?
I mean, sorry, for the Democrat Party.
Okay.
It was his reaction. Bill Maher's reaction was like
priceless.
Are you crazy? He literally looked at him and says that no, the people don't want AOC.
Yeah.
And Don Lemon's like, yeah, we do, we really want it, and he's like, no, we don't, and you're delusional if you think we do.
I'd say put her in because it definitely ensures that the Republicans are going to hold office.
Oh, absolutely. But I think they're grooming Slotkin.
Oh my God.
I do.
Well,
that woman's horrible.
Yeah, if they can get the grease out of her hair.
Yeah,
she's a piece of work.
Yeah.
Larry, you wanted to do. Here it is. I'm gonna show this one. Where'd it go? Is it there?
Oh, what happened behind you?
Am I in the wrong browser?
I don't know.
Oh, that's why.
There
Wrong
you
browser.
go. Wrong browser.
So there it is. How am I ever going to be president around these losers? That's AOC.
Yeah.
And I can't do voices tonight or high pitched voices. And so you've got Dopey back there declaring civil war. You got Grumpy. That's the guy with the cane. What's his name? Al Green.
Yeah.
Yep, Green.
Way to soil a good musician's name.
Yeah.
By being another Al Green. There's Chucky Schumer.
Yeah.
What's he cooking there? Oh, that's a raw burger with a piece of cheese on it.
Yes.
There's drunken Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
There's Chuck shit his pants Grassley. There's Sleepy Joe back there, and then there's Sniffy.
Hunter Biden.
Hunter Sniffy Hunter.
Sleepy and Sniffy.
So, we didn't switch, Larry. We're looking at it. Nobody else is looking at it.
Oh.
Now everybody has context.
There you go. Now
Dude,
you have
I'm just. It was a long weekend, bro.
Yeah.
Long weekend. All right, so enough with that craziness. Oh, I still got see how I'm slacking today. Tech support's just making big mistakes left and right. Anyways, all right. Yeah, I don't know why I opened that up in Explorer versus the normally open it up, and that's why I wasn't able to sign in over here. I get it now. Now I get it. So let's dive in this. I'm gonna do this first. Let's look over here back on the Explorer one. I wanted to see this. You guys saw this? Should have been the thumbnail. I'm trying to read the chat. Just got one thing to say to you, brother. What's it gonna take to cover up the fish tanks? Nothing. $1 million, dude. Never happened. Can't be bought. Can't be bought.
What, they don't like the fish tanks?
No, they want he's messing with me about the damn 2A sign. It's never going back up. All right, look at this. St. Patrick's Day. Here's the quote for this evening. May your day be touched by a bit of Irish luck, brightened by a song in your heart, and warmed with the smiles by the people you love.
Yep.
Isn't that nice?
It is nice. Yeah.
Have you heard that one before, Patrick?
I have, yeah.
Okay. So that's a good traditional one. And I never switched over to the wall feed. So, but you guys saw it. It's just the feed from the. It was easier for me to grab the still screen from the Rumble versus go over to my Google, grab the thing again and do it. So there it is, guys. So with that, let's dive into how our weekends were. We've already touched on a little bit of it, but Patrick, you were here.
I was here. And it was
on
awesome.
Saturday.
Yes. We had lots of good food, some corned beef, cabbage, of course, nice salad. And then we had those meatballs. I don't know what those were, but those things were good.
George made them and he wouldn't tell us.
He wouldn't give me. I'm like, come on, you got to cough it up. Man.
Yeah.
What's the yeah?
He was keeping it close to the vest. He wasn't sharing.
There were pierogies. We had a little bit of everything.
Dude, it was good stuff.
Yep. So
yeah,
we were all full, fat, and happy by the time we called it an evening. Yes.
Yeah, it was very good. Lots of good fun. Everybody was hanging out. The band jammed out a couple sets of songs and but it was good stuff. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Where were you, Larry? You were taking care of Darla.
Yes, and she got hooked on a new TV show on Hulu called A Handmaiden's Tale.
Oh, I've heard of this one.
Yeah, and so we binge watched A Handmaiden's Tale all weekend, which I think it's gross. It's pretty vulgar and extreme, but
tell me how you really feel, Larry.
Yeah, it takes place after World War III in America, and a lot of the population in the United States is completely wiped out, and the surviving people, there's a lot of women that can't have babies because of fallout from the war, like nuclear or whatever.
Right.
And so the women that can become handmaidens, and they're passed around throughout the community. And it's not good.
Oh, like knock them up and have a kid and then move them to the next.
Move to the next family, and their idea that's their idea of repopulating the United States, and it's the United States becomes the Republic of Gilead.
Interesting take.
And the weird part is everybody's trying to escape to Canada to freedom.
That is weird because nobody's trying to do that right now. There's Canadians trying to escape down here. They're like, yes, please make us the 51st state.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, there's lots in that movie that I won't describe on the podcast because, some of it I think is just so
retarded.
It's like, this is like Nazi Germany stuff is what it is. And I'm kind of insulted because I'm a Christian and they're trying to spin it. The liberal writers are trying to spin it as a Christian thing. Well, since when is it a sin for women to read? Because if a woman in this series, if a woman reads, they pick up the Bible and read it, first time they lose a finger, second time they lose a hand. That's Muslim. That's not
Christian.
No, that's Muslim. That's not Christian. Women can't drive. They can't answer the door. The women, the way the women serve in the community is you have Marthas, right? Marthas are the women that wear the gray clothes. They're like a gray dress, plain gray dress, and hair thing. And they do the cooking and the cleaning.
Okay.
And then you have the wives. They were in green gowns. Right. And they run the house. They're the wives, but it is against the law for a husband to sleep with his wife. It's against the law in this Gilead thing. And then the handmaidens all wear red. And sex is only for procreation. And there's it's forbidden to have any intimacy with the sex.
What?
Yes.
How long does that last?
I don't know. The whole thing is kind of crazy, and some of the stuff is just so gross that I'm embedded in watching the show to watch this poor girl. That what happens is while World War III is ending and this new Republic of Gilead is starting.
Yeah.
Right, this young lady and her husband are kidnapped, and she hears a gunshot, thinks he's dead, and they split her and her daughter up, and her daughter goes to a family, and she goes to be trained as a handmaiden, and believe me, it just all goes downhill from there. It's crazy. If the women buck the system, they have all kinds of punishments. Like one of them was they tied their hand on the gas stove and then turn it on.
This is some sadistic fucking people.
Yeah, and another one was she got lippy in the training class.
Yeah.
So they took her and they gouged out an eye.
Oh, hey.
That hurts.
Yeah. So I mean, there's all
What kind of
kinds
shows are you watching, man?
Yeah.
Well, now it's all about, man, I want to watch it to see if this girl gets out of there.
That's what it hooks you on, Larry.
Yeah. It's like, get that girl out of there, man.
Yeah. That's how it hooks you, buddy. Draws you back in.
Yeah, it's so.
But is it,
So we watched over the weekend, and I think she just discovered it sometime last week. So we are halfway through the third season.
John Bobby's giving you shit now.
Is he?
Said, is Larry's gay hour almost over?
No, there's none of that either. Because
None of that.
if you know that there was a lesbian lady, and her punishment, they removed her.
really?
You know what?
Yeah.
So she couldn't enjoy sex anymore.
Dude, these people are evil. What kind of fucking shows are you watching, man? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
but there are societies like that. So
Yeah.
it's fiction, but it's not.
Right.
Right. That's crazy.
So
okay.
I am sending you. I was asked to share this. Share this event.
Okay.
So, you should have it any second now on your Facebook.
On
page.
Facebook?
Yes, this is a Michigan GOP event.
Okay.
It will be at Huron Valley Guns.
Oh,
We like Huron Valley.
I like that
Yeah.
spot. Yes.
This guy's got some
It
good
is
Patriots.
April 26th at 10 a.m. till noon.
Okay.
Our wonderful congressman, which it is so nice to have a decent congressman.
Mhm.
We have a great guy. His name is Tom Barrett. He's going to be there. He's going to speak.
Okay.
I believe Brian Ignikowski is going to be there. He's going to speak. And this wonderful guy we all know and love,
Mhm.
Jim Runstead's going to be there, and he's going to speak.
Nice.
So, anyways, there you go. There's the invitation.
So do we get like a half hour of range time over there?
Yeah, I don't think so. I wish that was the case. It is cheap. Members can go for $15 if you're a member at Huron Valley Guns. If not, it's $25, and that's just they have to pay for the space. So they're asking for $25 per person to come in to cover their costs. They're not making a dime off this.
Right.
This is about the electeds and the party reaching out to the people.
I never remember Huron Valley charging for the space in that. What's the restaurant?
Molly Pictures?
Smiley Pictures, right?
Yeah.
I've had meetings there before.
Well, I think if you reserve the whole place and they're not able to serve a dinner of some kind, I think that would be the difference.
Yeah.
So that would yeah.
Yes.
If they're reserving the whole place, and maybe it doesn't say anything about food, so I don't think there's going to be any food involved. But yeah, if you're saying, hey, we're taking away what you would be your normal customers for 2 hours, paying customers, then
Yes.
yeah,
So,
that would make sense to me.
but it is an event for, I think, any Republican in the 7th district to come see our representative and, to meet the guy. A lot of people don't know Tom.
Mhm.
He's a great guy. He really is. He's a good, strong conservative. He votes right,
And he flies helicopters.
and he flies helicopters.
There it is.
And he's a good family man.
Yep, I liked his commercials while I was running.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, Jeremy. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Larry. I won't say anything for you. I'll say quite a few things for you, buddy. Not anything for you.
Okay.
Because that'll get me in trouble. They'd be like, "Oh, you said anything."
Yeah.
And they're saying in chat that I sound like you now.
You sound like me now. He sounds like me.
Just took screaming and singing. Really didn't stress my voice like in one particular. It was just the fact that you're singing and talking the whole weekend.
Aren't you supposed to drink like tea and honey?
Oh, I was doing my regiments. Yeah, it still just catches up with you.
Yeah.
You can't.
Di-Serrano, it's got to drink Di-Serrano.
You know, I actually didn't drink. I drank Di-Serrano on Saturday, but I didn't drink any Di-Serrano throughout the rest of the weekend. I had some hot teas or hot
I like Di-Serrano.
cappuccinos and stuff.
It's just so sweet. You know, when I taste something sweet, I kind of get nervous.
Well,
As he drinks his Dr. Pepper over here.
Yeah, well, it's diet. It's
Oh my God.
zero sugar Dr.
Yeah, well,
Pepper.
you're gonna figure out real soon because they just eliminated a whole bunch of the stuff in anticipation of RFK Jr. coming in there and getting rid of
He's going
stuff.
to do away with it, man. You better enjoy it right now while you can, because it's going to be gone.
I don't think so.
RFK is going away from it. Yep.
Yeah.
All these aspartames and stuff, they're addictive chemicals. They know it.
Yeah.
They're not just substitutions. Ilhan Omar, in a case of immigration fraud, married her brother. Did you guys know that? Does everybody out there know that?
I had no idea. No.
This lady married her brother in order to do immigration fraud, and then wants to lecture us about her Americanism.
Jeez.
Yeah.
She looks like an American, doesn't she?
Oh, of course. Yeah. She cares more about Somalia. Anyways,
Actually, Jeremy, I actually have a picture.
See how it is?
her That is right. Where's it at?
I don't know if I even want to see it.
You don't even know if you want to see it?
But getting to our next point while you look that up on Ilhan Make Me Puke Omar.
Yes.
The JFK assassination records have been released.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to entail. I don't know what's going to be on them, but they have been released. I know that we were figuring out 80 years to cover them up.
Well, 1963.
Yeah, to 2025. In accordance with Donald Trump's directive of March 17, 2025, all records previously withheld for classification that are part of President John F. Kennedy's assassination records collection are released. The National Archives has partnered with the agency across the federal government to comply with the president's directive in support of Executive Order 14176. As of March 18th, the records are available to access either online at this page or in person via hard copy or an analog media formats. Do they have a microfiche? Get some microfiche going?
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's how they used to.
At the National Archives at College Park, Maryland, as the records continue to be digitized, they will be posted to this page. So there it is. So this, here's one. JFK files. Oswald warned of something big and tried to reach a Soviet official. The FBI report states that a source claimed Lee Harvey Oswald hinted at something big happening weeks before JFK was killed. Document also reveals that Oswald attempted to contact, and it goes ... So there's a whole bunch of stuff out there, guys. There's Jack Ruby shooting
Lee
Harvey Oswald. So what's it say? CIA memo. Quit touching your mic, Larry. CIA memo says a source told investigators that Jack Ruby and Lee Harvey met at the nightclub where JFK was weeks before JFK was killed. The report says the CIA knew about this claim but couldn't prove it. It also notes something in ... Anyways, I just rewatched because I liked it. I just rewatched Oliver Stone's JFK, and there's some things that, back in '91 he did the best he could with the information they had, but and they obviously had some creative license because you can't do everything, but But for the most part, I really like that movie. It's got a lot of great stuff, and it's a long movie. Yeah, and it's really good. And in fact, they just did something on I want to say it was Netflix where it was JFK Revisited or something like that, where Oliver Stone sat down and went back over a bunch of the where they got a bunch of their documents, where they got a bunch of their stuff from. So it's pretty interested. So so there we go. We got the stuffs in the chat. How much are you guys anticipating seeing some of that? How much does it affect us today?
Well, it doesn't, other than it lets us know how some of these organizations that were involved with it actually operated. Even while I believe that this thing came from the CIA and Johnson.
Yeah, I believe Johnson. Well, that's the Oliver Stone, or not Oliver Stone, Roger Stone book, LBJ, the man who killed Kennedy.
Yeah.
That's his complete assertion, and I believe that I believe that LBJ was directly involved. I believe that the CIA, the mafia. Larry asked before we started the show, if I thought who I thought was behind it, and of course I said Oswald. I mean, he's a Fed, so I'm just going to tell him what he wants to hear. So,
well,
in case of Larry, but for everybody else out there, when Larry's not listening, I think it was the mafia in collusion with CIA and the FBI and rogue people in the. I think it was a conglomerate. I think it was a whole group because you can't. It as it said in the JFK movie. One of the things they said, you know what? I believe them. They're having a roundtable discussion in the DA's office, and one of the guys is pushing back, and he's saying, you're saying that the government was involved, that we killed our own. He goes, who can change the parade route? Who can call off the Secret Service? Who can alter all of these details?
Oh, you mean
if you're
like
not
what
in the government?
happened when on that day that they shot Trump in the ear?
Right. Who can do that if it's not? There has to be government elements involved in order to make those changes, because otherwise it's a violation of their.
Oh no, that happens all the time.
Their standard codes.
When presidents speak, people crawl up on roofs and lay on them with rifles. It's normal.
Right.
There's nothing suspicious about it.
They're investigating right now 2 different people. There was somebody on Inauguration Day that made it into the Capitol with a firearm, made it past security. They're investigating that right now. And there was another person during Trump's speech before a joint session of Congress that made it into the building with a firearm and had to be apprehended. You know what? Eat your damn chocolates. You're like worse than one of my grandkids.
Look at that.
That's why I gave you buttons, so you could push buttons and keep yourself occupied. Now you're gonna entrap Patrick into the whole thing. Fuck you.
Well, the one I'm really curious about is Mr. Epstein, and that seems to be on a slow path to being released if it ever gets released.
Well, and John Bovey's saying the thing I heard we won't find out about Epstein, who Epstein was working for, who did 9/11, and who killed JFK for the exact same reasons. Well, in the case of Epstein, I think they were presumptuous in saying that they were going to be able to release everything, because with the Epstein files, you still have a lot of living victims that are still alive, that you have to go through every single page and redact those victims to protect them. And if this goes up as high as we think it does into, of course, the CIA, Mossad,
high as we know it does.
High as we know it does. We know for a fact that Epstein was working with Mossad. He was working with British intelligence. He was working with American intelligence. So it's all the way across the board. There's a lot of people that are still alive because Epstein, hung himself just a few years back. Whereas the JFK files, this is 80 years ago. Almost everybody that was involved is dead. They're not.
Be 62 years ago.
62 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. 62 years ago. So if you're in your 20s, you're in your 80s now if you were involved.
Yeah.
But we know E. Howard Hunt gave a deathbed confession to his son. His son recorded it.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I missed that one.
Said he was one of the shooters and ran it. So I can say Mossad. What are you going to do? Come after me? Bring it.
Well, I'm thinking that just there's a lot of deep state actors that were involved with this Epstein thing.
Yeah.
You know, Prince William and I don't know, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Prince Bernhard and a whole bunch of other ones. Absolutely. No, I agree with you. So we'll see what comes out, how long this trickles, because once again, you release the files, but then how many ever documents there are, it's going to take a long time to sift through all of that and really find out. I mean, I'm trying to look right now and see how many pages, if it says in the article here, how many pages were released. Just says, let's see, records in the form of 1,123 PDF files on a National Records Archive. So if it's 1,100 pages, but it doesn't say pages, it says 1,100 PDF files, which could be, they could be a book in on themselves. So it's going to take a while for people to sift through that and find stuff. And they could be going through stuff and it just be nothing. It could be just, we recorded this or we did that or we did this, because everything is supposed to be, in that type of government work. That's one of the reasons I never wanted to go into law enforcement or go into the legal industry, because I didn't want to do the paperwork.
Yeah.
I'd love to be the lawyer standing up there in the court and arguing for my client and winning the case. I want to go back and do hours of paperwork.
Well, you have to be prepared.
Well, but there's a difference between being prepared and then coming back and with the police and stuff, they have to write up a report for every single incident and detail it out. And that's the type of stuff where I'm just like, just watch the body cam footage. Come on. You know what happened. Oh, we need you to write it out.
Yep.
So there's we're seeing, so they were released. We'll see what comes out of it. I think it's going to trickle out in the next couple months. I don't think it's going to be a big explosion of information right off the bat. I think it's going to take a little while. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to take a little while to sift through all of that stuff. And
well, they'll have the big conglomerates will have their speed readers going through stuff, and they'll assign like a whole bunch of people, and then those documents will start flopping out on Fox News, Newsmax, OWN.
I wonder if they'll throw a couple of the AIs of Grok or a few of the other ones on the PDF files and see what they come back with on those. Right. That'd be interesting to do.
Yep.
So I don't know if you guys probably didn't see it, but earlier today, Roger Stone was on with Alex Jones and talking specifically about the release of the JFK files. And Alex asked him, Trump in his first term said he was going to release files, and then he withheld a whole bunch. And these are the ones that are now being released. And here's what Roger Stone said concerning this. He said to Alex today, he said, look, President Trump told me it's so horrible I can't tell you, but someday you'll know, and that the world will be shocked by what the JFK files he's about to release prove. And of course, there's the image of JFK with LBJ, which that's another thing. That whole swearing in ceremony on Air Force One was all a dog and pony show. He had already taken an oath of office. As soon as the president is assassinated, he automatically becomes the president without any pomp and circumstance.
Right.
There's no need for that swearing in ceremony, but he insisted on it. And JFK's wife. I can't name.
Well, federal law does dictate what you have to. You cannot assume an office
but he's already sworn in.
Well,
as
he's sworn,
VP,
sworn
and the Constitution.
VP.
Correct, but the Constitution automatically says that if the office of presidency is vacated, you're automatically the president. There's no necessity for a new oath of office from that standpoint. The whole point is JFK's wife. Why is her name escaping me?
Elizabeth, what the hell's her name?
Yeah, why is it escaping me?
JFK's wife. Jackie.
Yeah,
Jackie Onassis.
Jackie Onassis. Jackie's standing there in her blood-soaked outfit.
Yeah.
That she had on when John was shot.
Yeah.
And he made and LBJ made it a point of having her stand right there while he was sworn in. It was a dog and pony thing. He could have waited till they got back.
Yeah.
He could have done it some other way. He did it on purpose to send a message. And he reversed multiple things that JFK was getting rid of. He reversed a ton of that stuff immediately. So you know his agenda and who benefited. So we'll see. But yeah, Roger said that President Trump told him, it's so horrible I can't tell you, but someday you'll know. And Roger is one of Trump's closest confidants. So when he says I can't tell you, there's some pretty heavy duty information in there. You know, I don't quite think that it's the Book of Secrets, the National Treasure movie with the Book of Secrets that the president gets. You know that there's an official book with all the secrets in it that only the president can see.
Yeah.
But I'm not totally convinced there might not be something.
Yeah. That's actually a really good movie.
I like both of them.
I like the
Yeah.
secret drawers hidden in the desk that you got to do all these magic tricks to
Mhm.
get them open.
Yeah.
And the hordes of underground buildings.
I love the fact that they had something behind
cities
the
underground.
the monuments there in
Yeah.
North Dakota. I wish they'd finish it. I really do. I don't know about you guys, but I wish they would go ahead and finish the presidential monuments there in North Dakota, because that Borland had it set up to where there was supposed to be the full bodies all coming down the mountains, and it was supposed to have a door and then a whole national archive back there and a museum to where you could walk through and read historical stuff. And
That would be cool. They need to put Trump on that wall.
you know, I'm not gonna disagree with you, buddy.
Reagan as well.
Yep.
Well, and it would stand to, I think, I liked Reagan. I mean, Teddy Roosevelt could be argued for with a lot of things he did. Somebody could make a pretty compelling argument that Nixon, he was the most popular president we've ever had as far as popular vote and everything like that. And he was framed.
Yep.
And his mistake was not to just cut everybody loose, because he didn't order the break-in.
No.
He ordered the cover-up to try to protect people that were supposedly working for him.
Right.
And so that was a coup d'etat right there.
If he would have let the people take their medicine for what they did,
Yep.
he'd have been fine.
Oh, he'd have been fine.
He'd have been fine. I think this is my opinion, but I think he felt a loyalty to the people that worked for him.
Well,
And I think he felt obligated to help the people that got him where he was.
Right.
And I think that's what brought him down. I think
They played on his
Yeah.
morale, his sense of morality. And
now, I
covering.
was a kid when Nixon was president, and my dad was a very harsh person on politicians. Very harsh. He didn't have a whole lot of good to say about politicians.
Right.
But he did Nixon. One of the things that he told me was that when Nixon was president, his company was busy. He made money.
Mhm.
His employees made money.
Mm-hmm.
And the country was safe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he said,
He ended the draft.
yeah, yep, that's another thing that he did. But he criticized him because he said Nixon also pulled us off the gold standard.
Right. Which,
so he criticized him for that.
yep.
But he also said that, you know, Nixon's downfall and the reason that he was threatened with impeachment, the reason he was forced to resign, he said was exactly what we were talking about, was that his downfall was covering up for the people that did something wrong. He actually didn't do anything wrong.
Right. Right. And that's huge.
But yeah, and he covered up for those people, trying to save them, and that's what ended his presidency. But I don't know. You know, I've lived through Obama, and I've lived through Biden, and I've lived through Clinton, and I've lived through Nixon. Although I was a kid, right? But by far, I struggled far worse under Obama and Biden than anybody else.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I lost everything under Obama.
Yeah.
Lost my house, I owned a trucking company, lost all that. Well, 9 yards, everything.
I lost 2 businesses. I had 2 clinics at
Yep.
that time.
I lost
Both of them went belly up
Mhm.
because of this unaffordable care act.
yeah, about $400,000 is what I lost.
That's it. That's,
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I lost $4.5 million when the
Yeah. So
market crashed in 08.
yeah, my mom lost
Just a little bit.
Yeah, my mom lost everything she had. My grandfather worked for the Ford family. He was the Ford family's personal accountant. When he passed away, he left a ton of money to his kids, and everything was in Ford stock. Of course, you remember what happened to Ford stock in
That's when I
08?
bought it.
Yeah.
When it tanked,
Oh,
picked it up.
Should have rode with it and hung on to it. Ford's not doing that great today, but they're paying a 6.5% dividend.
yeah.
Right.
You
Right. Is that Clayton chiming in over there from Alaska?
Is it?
Pass me the mic.
When are you coming home, Clayton?
Yeah,
That's what
buddy.
we gotta know.
Yeah, what's
When
up?
are you coming home, buddy?
It's got to be thawing out. It's going to start thawing out up there. You
Yeah.
have to get home soon. Let's go over this.
So, oh, sorry.
What were you going to say, Larry?
I was gonna tell you.
Oh, you sent me that cockroach picture.
You
It
should.
was so pleasant. I'm glad you sent
Did you
it to
read
me.
it? It's funny as heck.
I did.
Yeah,
I
that's-
try not to.
What's the difference between a Democrat and a cockroach?
And make sure I'm on the right browser.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's the difference, Larry? What's the difference between a Democrat and a cockroach?
The cockroach can tell the difference between a male and a female. That is the difference. And there's a new poll out.
They look like they're blindfolded, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
That's what I thought at first when it was a small picture.
Yeah, it's their eyes though.
Yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, and right
Thanks for
above
sharing,
that, right above that is another meme that I shared. There's a new poll out.
Oh, right there.
Democrats' favorable rating drops to record low in new poll. And look at that. So while Trump is enjoying highs in his poll numbers,
Yeah,
Democrats are tanking.
right. To the
Yeah.
point that Schumer is telling people just to go ahead and vote with Trump because otherwise we're going to get screwed. You're already screwed, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean that's what the Democrats have is oppose and block and just vote no.
Yeah.
It's just, and I think the American people are tired of Trump derangement syndrome.
Well, they are. They're like, what do you? Again, what going back to what you guys were just talking about is under good presidents,
Yes.
the economy's good, you're prospering, you're doing well, and everybody starts to look around and then look. I think it was divine that divine providence that Biden stole the election.
Oh yeah,
Because it showed such a huge contrast between Trump's first term, Biden's term, and now Trump in 60 plus days in.
Yeah.
It's destroying this whole narrative. And they're going, wait a minute. That was actually, we had a really good 4 years under Trump, even with the start of the pandemic, the fake pandemic.
Yeah.
Not only that, but all the rhetoric that was going against Trump in his first term, the Russia thing, and
Yeah.
all that stuff would have continued because there was this break and all this stuff towards Trump continued. He is pretty hardened at this point. He's got a FU attitude.
Yep.
I'm it's kick ass and take names, and I'm not taking no for an answer.
Exactly.
So we're going to have a very effective president where if he had continued, that may not have been the case.
Well, and just think about it from this standpoint. He was very reluctant to do executive orders in his first term because he was looking at the overall constitutionality of doing executive orders. But now he's had a time to reflect on that. And that's one of the huge things is saying, you know what? I'm going to do these executive orders, and then we're going to push for Congress to make them into laws. But he's doing that hardcore. And he's also not getting a bunch of establishment people around him that are going to ignore those executive orders. He's signing pretty much every single one of them in public in front of everybody instead of doing them behind doors and handing them off and then having that person take it to the shredder and ignore it. And then he goes a month later, goes, why isn't this followed up on? What are you talking about, Mr. President? But that was the shit that was happening in his first term. Now, second term, he's signing them on air. He's going, look, this is what we're doing. They published the whole thing right there. There's no way to destroy it, and it's being implemented. What are you gonna say, Larry?
Well, gosh, there's a lot going on right now. With what you just said, everything. How if you remember Trump's first term, gosh, the first 90 days was nothing but leaks coming out of the White House. Remember leaking this and leaking that, and I was furious on all these leaks because they're dangerous for the country.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you have these leaks coming out from it had to be the CIA leaking all the information. These entrenched TDS liberals, leaking top secret information. It's like you got to be careful when you're in the president's office, you're talking with it unless otherwise specified, it's top secret. It's like if you get an email from the president, right? It's classified.
Right. Yep.
A lot of people don't realize that, and what the laws are. And the president is the decider. And that's why I laughed at people when they were saying that Trump had these documents. It's not as these documents that Trump had at Mar-a-Lago, right? It's not like Biden having all those documents when he was a senator that they found in his garage when he was president, right? That's a crime.
Yeah.
Right.
That's serious.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Trump having documents that he disclassified. There's no process. There is no legal process. He looks at this document and he says,
I'm taking this.
This is declassified.
Yeah.
It's mine. He doesn't have to tell anybody.
And literally the Supreme Court ruled on that during Clinton.
Yes, they did, because Clinton got caught with documents in the sock drawer.
Yeah. And he's like,
and the Republicans went after Clinton, and the Supreme Court came back and said, no, he's the decider. Yeah. He's the president of the United States. Right. If he says that's a declassified document, it's a declassified document. There's nothing to do about it.
How do
it's
we?
The end of the story.
Here's part of this deep state question. How do we have people in government that supposedly have higher clearance classifications for clearance than the president? That shouldn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist.
Well, there are people that will say that there are people with higher clearances than the president.
He's the decider.
That's the deep state.
Yeah, it's like the first thing he did is he pulled Biden's clearance.
It wasn't the somebody in the archives. The archive was telling Trump that he needed to give this information back.
And the thing is, the Trump and the Trump administration is on record saying, "What files do you want? We'll give them back to you for the archives," and they refused. And then they did this bogus raid, which was all bullshit. And I think they're going to all be held accountable for all of the stuff that they've been doing.
Well, sure as hell hope they do.
Yeah, I hope so too. Because if they're not held accountable, then Democrats do it again.
Exactly.
And it also, if they're not held accountable, it makes the whole system look corrupt.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole system. It takes the hope out, of the system. The Biden administration weaponized the entire United States government against Donald Trump.
100%.
in order to stop him from becoming president again.
Yeah.
Why? Because the good old boys couldn't control him. That's
Correct.
why.
Exactly.
Make no mistake about it. You know, Trump said he was going to drain the swamp.
Mhm.
He drained the swamp.
Absolutely.
And we got to see all the swamp creatures in the swamp.
Yep.
Right? Now Trump is coming back, and
With
now he's going after the swamp creatures.
Now,
Yeah, and they're scared. And now the judges, these crooked judges, are now trying to cover up.
yeah. Now he's going to bring the
Right.
bulldozer in. And
Yeah,
level that.
they just issued a ruling while we were coming up the stairs. The courts issued a ruling that Trump, with the what do you call it, the LGBTQ transgenders in the military,
yeah.
right? Which
The alphabet mafia.
yeah, the alphabet mafia. The military can come up with any rules that they want to. I don't think the federal courts have a constitutional authority over the military. I think that's under the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
Yeah.
I believe that would be the military courts that
Yeah.
have the authority over the military. And as far as these transgenders in the military, you have to look at reality here. The whole time Biden was president, with all this transgender crap going on in the military, nobody was joining. The military couldn't meet its recruiting goals. And within 2 days of Trump being sworn in, lo and behold, they're making their
quotas
military quotas.
Yep.
You know, in the Army.
Amazing.
It's amazing. You know, because people don't want to take orders. And, you know, there's a lot of people that aren't veterans that aren't going to understand this, but I'm going to explain it very simple. When you go to work every day and your boss tells you to do a job, he's not going to tell you to do a job that you could die doing.
Right.
Knowing that you could have a 70% chance of dying or an 80% chance of dying by following orders that you're given.
Right.
Right. Somebody doesn't want to take orders from a dude in a dress.
Right.
You know, because you look at them and they're standing, it's a guy standing in front of you with a beard, in a dress, miniskirt, and nylons, and high heels, in a female's military dress uniform. I'm not taking orders from that clown.
Klinger wore dresses in the TV show MASH.
Yes.
Specifically to say he was nuts.
Yes.
So he could get a Section 8 release, and they refused because they knew he was just playing.
Yeah.
And nobody learns from that. Nobody has a clue.
No.
Going back to it, Clayton says he'll be back at the end of April, still trying to recover from the Biden cost of living. So he'll be back in April. But going back, John Bovee also pointed out when we were talking about the Trump signing these executive orders that he now he realizes the Constitution really doesn't mean anything. And I get your sentiment that the Constitution. I look at Trump using the tools that are in front of him until he can get us back to a constitutional republic.
Right.
And I think if you try to abide by the rules while everybody else is breaking them, at a certain point, you have to not break the rules, but you have to, if executive orders are legal, which they currently are, then you maximize the usage of executive orders. He didn't want to go into executive orders. He would have preferred Congress pass laws or revoke laws, get rid of regulations. Now he's realizing, you know what? I can pass all of these. I have legal authority to pass all of these executive orders, which were not originally something that the president was supposed to do. But he can now do all of these executive orders because of precedent, because of the things that have been established up to this point.
Yeah.
And then petition Congress to put that into law, to write a law in line with those executive orders. And that's why you're seeing the uproar in the courts. And I think the courts are going to go through a bunch of garbage with that. The courts are pushing back, as you said, the rulings. And I go back to that Jacksonian concept where President Jackson, the Supreme Court made their ruling, and they said, what about this, Mr. President? And he said, well, they've made the ruling. Let's see them enforce it.
Yeah.
And up until now, you've had these courts not being challenged on the enforcement side of their rulings.
Right.
And it's coming to the point with Trump where he's like, okay, oh, you made your ruling. Now enforce it. Because he's the commander in chief. And who are you the commander of? You're going to send your law clerk over here to tell me not that I can't do something? Try it. And you brought up the point of
Joe Biden
with the student loans.
Yeah, right. Joe Biden set a precedence of ignoring the courts.
Yep.
So if Joe Biden can ignore the courts, President Trump can ignore the courts. And this is what the Democrats keep forgetting. And it's one of the things that I have explained to people. You know how Democrats have lobbied or talked about, at least for the past 20 years, about getting rid of the filibuster, right? But that's a valuable tool. Nobody uses the filibuster more than the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
So if they yank the filibuster so the Republicans can't occasionally filibuster a bad Democrat law, right? Well, then the Democrats can't actually filibuster a Republican law.
Right.
So, I mean, Democrats, to an extent, will go so far and then they'll stop. But when it comes to the things that they'll do, like the way they went after Donald Trump, okay, it's all unprecedented. All unprecedented. It's never been done in American history before, where they actually weaponized the government, where they got these prosecutors to come up. This guy from this Alvin Bragg from New York that made up a law or made up crimes. Say, oh yeah, well we'll just make it a felony then. Abracadabra, it's a felony.
Right.
You know, and then we'll just make 34 of them, and then we'll stack the jury. We'll make sure that the jury pool is in an area that's 97% Republican.
They had to rewrite laws to make it to remove the statute of limitations because they were all
Well, see, there was a statute. That's why they made them felonies,
Mhm.
because the statutes of limitations came in and blocked them for going after Trump for a misdemeanor.
Right.
Which, if Trump had intended to lie, that had just been a misdemeanor.
Right.
In those documents, but
now, was this the one where he was accused of raping the hideously ugly person, or was this the one about the house being overvalued?
This was about
undervalued.
The overvaluing of the
Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago property, and then the judge pretended to be
which everybody in the whole case on that
yeah
said, except for the prosecutor and the judge.
Yeah.
The bank said he overvalued the property. He paid us. We made money. What's the problem?
Yeah.
They didn't say that he overvalued it.
Well,
They
see,
said that
a judge has
they do their due diligence.
Correct. And they agreed with his valuation.
They agreed with his valuation. They wrote the loan. He paid it back. Everybody's happy. They made money. He made money. This is a great deal. They want to do more like that.
Exactly.
So for them to decide arbitrarily that it was overvalued, who in the hell are they to decide whether or not what the real estate value is down in Florida?
Correct. It's technically a private transaction at that point.
Right.
It's a contract between Donald Trump
and whoever buys the property
and the bank. Well, the bank's the one loaning it. If the bank wants to give you, if you come in and go, hey, this is worth $100 million, and the bank goes, okay, we're going to do our due diligence. We agree with you. It's worth $100 million, and you get the loan, you pay the loan back in full plus interest, and then 10 years later, some DA walks in and goes, well, we only think it was worth $80 million. Who gives a shit?
right.
Did he get the loan? Did he pay the loan back? Did the bank agree to give him the loan?
Who's that prosecutor to say what the property's worth? It's like the judge. Who the hell is the judge to say what that property's worth? My neighbor just put their house on the market last Monday. He had 1,000 square foot home on a lake. They decide we're going to put it on the market for $400 a square foot. We're going to get $400,000 for this 50 by 480 foot property with 1,000 square foot home and a 2-car garage and a gravel driveway. And they put it on the market for $400,000
and got it.
And everybody tells me, oh, that's way too much. He's never going to get it. It sells in 2 days.
2 days.
Gone. Now, I don't know what they paid for it. We won't know until closing. Right. But if Trump says his property is worth $100 million, somebody comes up to him and says, I'll give you $90 million for it. And Trump says, no, I want 110 million for it now. If that guy gives him 110 million
Then
for
it's
that
worth
property,
110 million.
that's what it's worth.
That's what it's worth. Exactly
You
right.
know, and it's just like your house. It's worth what you decide you'll take for it.
Right.
Correct.
If you decide, if somebody else says, "Well, I don't think it's worth that," and they walk away, okay.
And people don't realize that. Okay, so in that case, 90 million, but you say I want 110 million. Okay, if they walk into the bank and they're a black card holder, they've got one of those American Express black cards with the unlimited,
Yeah.
and they walk in there and they've got that type of clout and credit, and they go, yeah, it's valued at 90, but he wants 110. That bank 99% of the time is going to go, all right, we'll loan you the 110.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's valued at 90, the person purchasing it has the clout, has the background and the credit history to warrant the bank overloaning them for that property because they know they're going to get paid back.
Yeah.
And that's the dynamic. And for that, he was taken to court by these corrupt people. But I want them held accountable. I want these assholes held accountable. And
Well, they all need to go to jail, all
Yeah.
of them, and that goes all the way back to what was his name, James Comey, the guy that, and all those people.
that was wasn't that FBI director?
Yeah, the FBI. Anybody involved with the Trump-Russia dossier?
Oh yeah, yeah. Isn't it
Any,
like
any one of those people?
all the experts
Yes,
that
all
said
of
it
them.
was
The
credible?
law firm behind it, all of them.
All of them need to be.
The law firm needs to lose its. I know there was a couple weeks ago where Trump tried to strip them of their clearances, and then a rogue judge came in and reversed it.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
again, I want
yeah.
to see how this is going to play out
Now, as far as
in
I know,
60
yeah,
60 plus
exactly.
days.
Yeah, exactly.
How are you going to enforce this?
How are you going to enforce this? I don't think the judge has any constitutional authority whatsoever to decide who has clearance and who don't, because guess who's the decider according to the Supreme Court? You're right back into Donald Trump's lap again.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and one of the big
He could give you clearance tomorrow.
right,
If he wanted to, you could have the highest clearance next to him if that's what he decided.
right.
And there's not a court anywhere in the world that can
Tell me
take
no.
that from you.
Right.
And I think that there's some really cool stuff coming out right now that Trump through executive orders, he's limited in what he can do.
Right. Well, the
But,
executive orders, technically, the intent of executive orders, if you go back to the founding days, the executive order was only to make it so any president didn't have to go to Congress every time he needed something petty. I mean, that's what an
Correct.
executive order. Oh, geez, I
Well,
broke
it's
the
no-
coffee pot.
Right. It's no different
Well,
than
now I have to lobby Congress for money for a coffee pot.
right.
So they invent the executive order so he can
What's along
get
the,
a new coffee pot or new drapes, or he wants a
Right.
new rug or a new desk.
it's along the same lines as the provision for war.
Right.
He has 90 days. If he sends troop into a theater battle,
Yeah.
there's 90 days roughly for him to go to Congress and petition them to do a declaration of war.
That
But
is
he
correct.
can, as the chief executive, as the commander in chief, he can dispatch troops.
Yeah,
and he
isn't
has
the
that 90-day
isn't
window.
the War Powers Act that
Some,
we're talking
yeah,
about?
but it's similar
Yeah,
to what you're
and
saying.
it's-
There's
Yeah,
a
and
certain
that-
amount of provisions for him to do
And-
stuff that
And some of my friends
Coffee
have a
pot.
big problem with that. I don't.
I don't.
I don't have a problem with that, because if we're sleeping in the morning one day, and I don't know, have you ever seen the movie Red Dawn?
Both of them, both
Yeah,
versions.
okay, but I've seen both versions too. But in the first version, you have all the kids; they're all in school, and all these parachuters come in. I don't think that's a scenario that can happen here at this point.
It happened over in Israel.
Yeah, yes, it did.
Right. But yeah.
Right, but anyways, to continue with my thought, where I was going, what I was trying to say is the War Powers Act, how that related. You don't always have time.
Mhm.
What if Congress is on recess and everybody's scattered? They're all home in their districts,
Right.
right? And the parachuters come in, and and the president of the United States, whether it's Trump or whether it's somebody else, has to react to an invasion of our land by sending the military. You're not going to have time to get all those people on planes,
Yep.
fly them to Washington, D.C.,
To vote.
get them in caucus, to get him to declare a war.
No.
So it gives him a reasonable amount of time
Correct.
to defend the United States. In this case, it's 90 days.
Right. Well, and again, I think that's the same exact underlying principle of the executive orders is to the president writes an executive order, and then it's expected that Congress either turns that into a law or gets overturned.
Right.
And most people don't realize that the office of the presidency, the way the founding fathers set it up, is he is the de facto king. He's the supreme authority. People don't grasp that when you become president, you're the top dog.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the only mechanisms we have are impeachment and then a vote to remove you from office. There's no other, they're not supposed to be able, that's why they had to stop all of the frivolous bullshit lawsuits as soon as he was elected.
Yeah. Well, if you go back in history, if you go all the way back, let's go all the way back to Marbury versus Madison. Right. And I always refer to that as the court case where the Supreme Court appointed itself as the highest power in the land.
Right.
Okay. And where they made a ruling that all laws that are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. Right.
Yep.
And it probably sounds pretty weird that I'm being harsh on the court for this decision. But what the court did in here, I agree with. All laws that are repugnant to the Constitution are indeed null and void.
Right.
Right. They cannot stand.
And then
Right.
it just comes down to a place of
But-
adjudicating what are repugnant to the Constitution.
Right.
Continue.
And I can't remember what year this ruling was, Marbury versus Madison. But what the court did here is it declared itself the high and mighty. Is it? I mean, they didn't actually say that in the words, but that's what really that case did. Where they said
They're the final arbiter of what is right and wrong.
The final arbiter, right? And the way the Constitution is written, the three branches of government, which are the judiciary,
Mhm.
which are the executive branch, and which are the legislature, are supposed to be equal in power. One does not have the other over the barrel. And what we're witnessing with the courts, this is why I'm so harsh on the courts, especially like the Michigan Supreme Court,
Mhm.
which the Michigan Supreme Court is the biggest joke, buffoonery court in the land. And I'm going to put an asterisk on that, and I'm going to say, except for Justice Brian Zara. The rest of them are a bunch of clowns, right? They have an agenda. They don't follow the Constitution, and they don't have any judicial experience. They don't know what they're doing.
Who can balance your body and help you to get.
Sorry.
Well, we're seeing this all over the country. It's not limited to the Michigan Bozo Court. And that's not. We're not. These fools on the Michigan Supreme Court. I mean, they're just a bunch of idiots. Again, excluding Justice Brian Zara.
I have a hard time with some rogue court and a judge deciding that he wants to put a stop to a decision made by the president. I don't.
Right. And when it comes to,
I fully agree with the Trump just saying, yeah, sorry, screw it. You made the decision, you enforce it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah, you can't. The courts cannot start monkeying around with our national security and with our national defense.
no,
They just can't do it.
Security clearance, who that and who can fire and who he can't fire. It is his
Prerogative.
yes, to make those decisions.
Correct.
As to who he wants.
Well, and that was one thing there. I heard a good discussion today or yesterday, but they were talking about how, some of these branches of government that are in existence, some of them were established by Congress, so they have some legitimacy.
So
But Trump can cut off funding.
Yeah.
He can fire all the employees.
Right.
And then what? What's Congress going to do at that point when there's nobody working there and there's no money going to it.
No, it was,
It's like, okay, why don't you just dissolve it?
Doge decided to take away credit cards from government employees that were given a credit card so they could go out and have lunch on the government. Well, we all pay for our own lunch, so
Right.
they can
Exactly.
too. So he took away their cards.
Yeah.
And then a judge said, no, you can't do that. You have to give them back all their cards. So he decided he wasn't going to die on this battle. He gave them all back their cards, but he made it a $1 limit.
Nice.
You got a $1 limit on your card. Yeah.
Now that's funny.
That's brilliant. See,
Yeah.
but that's the end around. That's the brilliance of it.
Yeah. Well, it's like, the Gulf of America,
Exactly.
Biden signed all these, executive orders that you can't drill in the Gulf of Mexico. And Trump said, yeah, no problem. We'll just make it the Gulf of America. Now let's drill, baby, drill.
Yeah, and now those executive orders, now what they're saying is a
Autopen.
lot of these are signed by AutoPen, which that's another thing. If it's signed by an AutoPen and they can prove that,
It's null and void.
it's null and void.
And we're going to get into that more. We're going to take a quick break.
You can AutoPen a letter if the president sends you a letter. It says, "Hey, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Thanks for all you do for me."
Sure. That kind
Auto
of stuff,
letter.
right.
AutoPen.
Right.
Comes to you. That's
Can't
fine.
do it on an official document. He has to sign it.
No. No.
And they're
No.
finding out that Biden may have signed two or three total executive orders in his 4 years. The rest were all
Who
AutoPen.
was running the
Also,
country?
the
That's
pardons,
question.
even Hunter Biden's pardon is auto.
We're going to pull that article up when we come back. But we're going to go to I'm going to click on this video here from InfoWars and we'll take a quick break.
Did you see that?
I'm going to grab a cough drop or two.
That interview between Tucker Carlson and the General McGregor?
I don't think I did see that one yet.
I think
That's a good one.
I sent it to you. It's on X.
Oh,
It's about an hour and 15 minutes.
yeah, no, then I didn't see it. I saw somebody sent me a clip too of a Tucker being interviewed with somebody else.
Yeah.
But let's do this one. We'll be back in a few minutes, guys.
It's a good one. Very good one.
And of course, when
I said, well, why aren't you releasing this? And he said, well, Pompeo thinks it would expose our methods and sources. And I said, but Mr. President, you've seen it all. What it is? What is it? And he said, it's so horrible. He said, I can't tell you, but someday you'll know. I think what we're talking about here is the involvement of the Central Intelligence Agency, hard evidence that they were involved in the plot to kill Kennedy.
Why'd you fight to keep the JFK files secret?
Because I was trying to keep Americans safe. And by the way, don't paint with too broad a brush. 99.6% of the JFK files are public today.
But it was 60 years ago.
John, not everything was 60 years ago. And I don't want to spend a lot of time walking through this, but suffice it to say, the definition of a document covered by this statute that you're referring to, it's a little bit wonky, but suffice it to say, if Congress holds a hearing tomorrow on the Kennedy assassination, the documents generated tomorrow will be part of those files. Those would be tomorrow, they'd be 60 seconds old, not 60 years old. And last thing I'll say is there are things that happened 60 years ago that are still important to keep in the vault. There are lots of things that happened that long ago that still are appropriate not to release. Think of names and addresses and families.
When I was a cadet, what's the cadet motto at West Point? You will not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. I was a CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
But first, I want to, since we mentioned it, play a clip of Pompeo on C-SPAN, and he was just up there saying, "Yeah, people think the CIA tells the truth. Now they train us how to lie," which is a fact. And it was set up in 47, the National Security Act, along with the NSA, and since then we've gotten 16 other intelligence agencies, but it's the big one along with the NSA. And it's got all these front groups: USAID, the EPA, all those are front groups, and it just runs around setting up global government and destroying America. You had Harry Truman years after it was set up saying, "Man, I wish I never would have set that up. It needs to be destroyed." You had Kennedy saying it needs to be torn up to 1,000 pieces. It's bad. And again, it recruits all these compartmentalized people that think they're doing good. And then there becomes a moment where they realize, no, it's really bad. They're called white hats. They get kicked out or shelved doing administrative stuff or little side issues. And then the bad guys get filtered out and recruited into higher levels. And I know that from my uncle, who was a fighter, a helicopter ace in Vietnam, a whole 9 yards, followed a bunch of orders, did what he was told, clandestine operations into Cambodia and Laos. Told my mom about that, never told me that stuff. Told me a lot before he died. And told my mom, he said, I followed orders. They were flying opium around. But the main other mission was delivering special forces and secret missions. And then he got recruited, boom, into Latin America, building airfields, all of it for Jim Coffey and all the famous guys that were involved in Bay of Pigs, everything. He was high level. And then he found out they were smuggling kids out of Guatemala, out of orphanages. He said, I'm out of this. And he took some guys with him. And they killed one of the guys. So this is the stuff that goes around, okay? So I don't need to read this in books, all right? He explained to me how it worked. He would never get the specifics because it was secret stuff, but when he was dying, he did. And so, but I mean, I already knew that from reading books and talking to other experts, and Terry Reid that was shipping in cocaine for the Clintons, and he found out they were shipping kids and wouldn't be part of it. Same thing with Larry Nichols. He was a former Green Beret, Latin America, same stuff down there. They sent him up to manage the Clintons, and then he found out they were shipping kids, and he said he literally been brought up Christian, but wasn't really a Christian, fell on his knees, God convicted him, and he fought him till he died. I mean, again, and Larry Nichols had told me those stories, and then later I learned from my uncle, who was down there at the same time. They probably even knew each other. I know he said Larry Nichols was a good guy. I should listen to him. But my point is that there comes a time, folks, when you get into these things, not just in the CIA or anything in life, where incrementally you think you're doing good. Oh, we're cutting corners, end justifies the means. And then the evil gets so bad, my uncle said, that there's a moment where you're going to join the devil or God. And that's what America's done. And I'm ranting here, but here's Pompeo, an evil snake. And thank God Trump took his national security clearance, took his security away. We were really worried when we saw Pompeo right before the election in Pennsylvania with him. I was like, oh my God. But here's the clip.
When I was a cadet, what's the cadet motto at West Point? You will not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
This guy really thinks it's funny, doesn't he? Finish up with Pompeo and this huge data dump coming in less than 30 minutes. And Roger, have you found out, maybe I'm missing, we've looked, National Archives is where it should go out, Library of Congress. Do we know where they're going to put this out?
We do not. Now, the president has ordered that it not have redactions. It remains to be seen whether it does have redactions. I heard yesterday that the central figure in the administration with responsibility for this release is Tulsi Gabbard. The archivist cannot be trusted. One of my greatest concerns here, Alex, and I've written the president about it, not everything regarding the Kennedy assassination is in the Kennedy assassination records archive. There are still records at the Department of State, the Department of Defense, the CIA, the FBI, the IRS. So I'm not sure that what we get today will be complete. And I suspect that bureaucrats have been scurrying around for some time to get rid of documents that are not in the official assassination archive.
I think that's absolutely a guarantee. In fact, I'm worried that that's the no-brainer how they operate. What we're going to get is going to be highly sanitized, just like they want Trump to find and Bondi and Cash Patel to find all the Epstein stuff. It's long gone, the hard drives, all that. I mean, you think they left that around? There's nobody in media more effective than this operation and my crew and my host and what we do and you. You're the Paul Revere's. You are the InfoWar. You're everything. So share the articles, share the videos, buy the products at thealexjonesstore.com. But the biggest thing you can do at thealexjonesstore.com is commit. You can cancel anytime for free, but sign up as a VIP month to month for $30 a month. And then you get $40 to spend in the store on products. You get special deals, special sales, sales on top of sales, special offers of products nobody else gets. We're adding more troublesome all the time. Biggest selection of Patriot apparel, t-shirts, ball caps, hoodies, sweaters. We're adding a lot more stuff. Collectible limited edition knives with special inscriptions. So much at thealexjonesstore.com, but the supplements are really the most amazing thing. The very best Irish sea moss. Don't know about that? Get it. The very best super concentrated turmeric with other super ingredients that are so good for your whole body. Just do things for everything. That's back in stock, the ultimate turmeric. But getting back to the VIP, we need to be able to gauge that we've got the support. We've had to beef security. We've had to do a lot of other things. We're battling these legal battles. We're winning. But if people think we've won the war and just go back to sleep, it's going to be hellish. The globalists are done, but they could really drag us in with them. It is critical that all of you make the commitment to yourself and to this operation that you are at the heart of. Realize that. I'm not just telling you that. It's true. Think about it. Without you, we're nothing. I can have all the will in the world. You magnify us millions and millions of times. You are the InfoWar. Become a VIP member now. I want to thank those that have been VIP members. I would encourage those that haven't. Go now. Make the commitment.
I'll jump in here real quick. Alex is talking about being a VIP member, and you saw some of the products on there. If you go to thealexjonesstore.com/this is my brain, any purchases you make on there, we receive a portion of that. We get a kickback on that. thealexjonesstore.com/this is my brain. And there's a ton of stuff on there. I use a ton of products. Vince, my son is a VIP member. He just ordered a whole bunch of Turbo Force on there. Wanted to know if I wanted a canister because you get obviously discounts if you do more than, you order like 3 cans, you get a bigger discount. So that's good stuff. But I didn't realize that part of the video was going to do all that, but it's good advertisement because I don't promote enough. And I need to buy a couple more cameras because for other stuff that we're doing around here.
Well, the show doesn't, it doesn't keep on going on the thank you. We really need a level of support.
Right.
So,
right.
If you enjoy what you're seeing and you like the fact that we're getting the message out and we have been for years, support us.
Yeah. And it's easy to go get good products.
Yep.
What do you take I think I've turned you on to the turmeric and the brain force.
Yeah.
Those are some great products. And like I said, those are the type of things where you have to sell that stuff. They sell it once somebody takes them, it sells itself.
Yeah.
It was funny. My guitar player, Tommy, he's always teases me about it. His sister's a medical professional and he's always, he leans that way. And I love him to pieces, but he says, I got bruised at hockey, which is not unusual being a goalie. And I said, it'll be all right. I'm going to put some DMSO on it. He's like, what? Like your magical potion put on it. Mm-hmm. And I put the DMSO and I come back the next week and he was like, holy shit, that worked. Like you could see a visible bruise when I left the locker room. Yeah. And I come back the next week and there's just a slight, it should have been just, horrible. And he goes, wow, that really worked. I said, yeah, dude. So his elbow was really bothering him last week. He's sitting on the bench next to one of our other buddies, and his buddy and our buddy, me and John talk all the time. And John goes, you need to put some DMSO on that. And he looks at him and goes, yeah, Jeremy's probably got some in his car. I'm like, if you haven't heard of DMSO, look it up. DMSO. It's a natural wood product. It aids in bruises, inflammations, things like that. I put it on my knees when they're hurting. I put it on my shoulders when they're hurting. I put it on, I got one toe that doesn't like me. Help? Oh, it helps tremendously, dude. Yeah. When I have a bruise from hockey, if I put it on immediately, it almost, it cuts the, like if the bruise lasted for 2 weeks, a really good bruise, which a good bruise will last you a couple weeks before the discoloration's gone, right?
Yeah.
If I put that on there, it's 4 days. And the bruising doesn't, because
you keep applying it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like twice a day.
Twice a day.
Now the difference is DMSO, it does have a burning sensation when you first put it on. So you can cut it with my wife does like coconut oil.
Yeah.
Or she'll mix it half and half or something like that. And it's a phenomenal product. It's a derivative of the wood production. It's a natural occurring element within wood. And when they make paper and stuff like that, they just used to throw it away until somebody figured out that it was an actual healthy thing, like so many extracts that we get out of plants and other products.
You know what I always wondered when it comes to bruising or stuff like that? You ever watch a TV show and see somebody get in a fight and they get a black eye and they go grab a steak and throw it on their eye? You ever seen that?
Yeah.
That can't do anything, can it?
I think the coolness of it.
Oh, is that what it's about?
Yeah,
The coolness
I think
of
it's
the
the
steak?
coolness of it.
Okay.
One of the things I see in a lot of shows is when they do the peas.
Yeah.
The frozen peas. So what you can do is, with a lot of bruising or inflammation from a wound, a trauma to you, is hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, and it causes the blood flow to slow and then it speed up and then flow, speed up, slow down, speed up, slow down, and it's causing that to go. That's one of the things the DMSO does when you put it on your skin.
Yeah.
Wherever there's a bruise or an inflammation, is because it's a dimethyl oxide, sulfuric oxide. So
Where do you buy it at?
I get ours online, but there are a few health stores that carry it.
Is it expensive?
No, it's cheap. It was considered a byproduct. They just dump it.
Huh.
And then somebody figured out that it was actually a good thing in the wood product in trees. And so now they actually harvest it. There's a pretty healthy industry, but it's in that naturopathic health area, so big pharma's not jumping on it because they can't synthesize it and patent it and charge out the ass for it.
Yeah.
But it's a great product. So, but because it has an oxygen element to it and it's got a sulfur, oxygen, and a double methyl. How do you say that?
Well, big pharma is like
it's
really.
methylene. Yeah. And so have you ever put on Vicks vapor rub? That's a methyl.
Methylene inhaler.
Yeah. So you can put the Vicks vapor rub on, or use the inhalers. That's the methyl. It causes an oxygen, better flow of oxygen, because the DMSO already has an oxygen element in it and then a sulfur element. All three of them work together to speed oxygen to that place. That's why you're bruising, because bruising is really just dead blood or old blood cells. And so the quicker you can get the new in there, and sometimes because they're dead, they're not being moved out quick enough. And so you get is that bruising sits there for a long time. Whereas if you can get something on there, and I use the DMSO on it every time I get a bruise, and it cuts my bruising down. It speeds up my healing time. And then if you need something else, think of something, Patrick, that you need topically to get into your system quicker, that you're putting on. Let's say you're something that you would be putting on your skin to topically get it into your body faster.
There's many different things that.
So you would mix it with the DMSO. You'd mix the two together, and the DMSO would help you absorb it faster and make it more productive. So I put it on my skin, and within seconds, I'm tasting the metallic, a slight metallic taste from it. Yeah, it's great stuff. So Alex doesn't sell that product, but there's multiple other products on there that are doing it. Larry, are you ready over there? Do you got your stuff ready?
I do not yet.
Okay.
Are you ready? Should I get ready for that?
I want you to get ready for that. While we're doing this, let's cover these two quick things while Larry's getting prepped over there. Patrick, did you see this in the news? Little Hunter lost his.
Yeah, he's in Africa. I heard.
He was in Africa and he lost his Secret Service. And you know what? Did you see how it happened? President Trump announced via Truth Social on Monday that Joe Biden's children, Hunter and Ashley, will no longer receive Secret Service protection. Hunter, quote, Hunter Biden has had Secret Service protection for an extended period of time, all paid for by the taxpayers. Trump wrote, there are as many as 18 people on this detail, which is ridiculous. And he said that he's currently vacationing in South Africa with 18 people watching him. So what had happened was, I want to know if this is, less than 3 hours after the press alerted. So he was in a press conference, and one of the members of the press said, "Mr. President, are you aware that Hunter Biden's in South Africa and has 18, I think he said 21, if I'm remembering correctly, but either way, he said he has a whole Secret Service detail protecting him." And the president said, "I know, I hadn't heard that. I'll look into it." And this is what it says. Less than 3 hours later, after the press was alerted Trump, he pulled it. He pulled the Secret Service detail. So that's huge. Trump's just one guy, and he's got advisors on him. But the more information we get to him, the more he's able to do. And so people are just keeping him informed, and I think he's being that much more attentive to what's going on so he can address these things. The other one that I have, anything on that, Patrick? The Bidens losing their Secret Service detail?
Well, I think they're trying to reel in, I don't know if Joe Biden should lose his as an ex-president.
No, I think that's guaranteed.
Yeah.
But his extended family, even his kids.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, he's on, an exotic junket down in Africa.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's in, I think, a pretty volatile country while he's down.
He's in South Africa, which is right now is on the list of some of the most violent places to go, because they're actually executing white nationals in there, the Afrikaners. They're of Dutch descent. Yeah. White nationals there. They're going through and just systematically executing them, these farmers. And so he's in this horrible place, and Trump's like, "No, dude, you don't want to be there." So here's the picture of him. An internal investigation with my contacts on the ground, Cape Town, Africa, from Laura Loomer, captured exclusive photos of Hunter Biden this morning with Secret Service detail proving that he fled the country right after he was served a deposition notice. So he fled the country, and he's got Secret Service detail. Seriously, come back home and face the music, boy.
Especially with what's going on right now, I think it's
correct.
Dangerous for any of those people to be over there. Hunter wants to be down there doing coke. I mean, what the hell? They're supposed to chase this guy around, and he's on a wild junket with a bunch of women, whatever.
Yeah, whatever he's doing down there, snorting coke off somebody's ass. One more before we go to Larry's lightning round. And then we'll get into some more stories after this, but where is it at? Where's the story at? I want to find this. We mentioned it earlier, but I wanted to pull the story up. Here's the cartoon on it. Here's the cartoon. There's Biden signing the Declaration of Independence there, and he says, "Can't we just use an auto pen and go get some ice cream?" Yeah, just go get some. So if you guys were under a rock for the last few days, or specifically today,
yes,
there's the picture of it. I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna find it in real time while you guys are watching the screen. We'll do our side by sides on there. But it appears that Biden did not sign, that only signed like 2 or 3 actual executive orders and pardons. Everything else was done by auto pen. And the fact that he did them by auto pen means that they are on their face. Right here it is. Null and void. Breaking. Trump declares Biden pardons void, says Joe did not sign or know anything about them. So they're going through everything, the pardons, the executive orders. They're going through everything he did. In fact, it was noted that Speaker of the House Johnson took him a couple months to get in to see Biden, or a month and a half or something like that, to get in to see Biden. Biden didn't know that he had signed an executive order banning natural gas in this country. And as soon as he found out about it, he actually reversed it. So that's one thing he signed. So this is the stuff that happened under the Biden administration. He was a complete and total puppet, and his dementia was quite heavy. So it was cool. Did you watch the press secretary from yesterday? What's her name? Caitlin?
Yeah.
She said she's great. And she says, She says in the midst of that, she says, you all should know by now that that Joe Biden was of diminished capacity through his entire presidency. Or she goes, you all have to admit now that he was of diminished capacity through all of his presidential term. And nobody argued with her. They're just like, yep, yeah, he was.
She's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like her.
She was talking about a member of parliament in France said that that
they want the Statue of Liberty back.
Trump, he's not happy with the Trump administration, and they want the Statue of Liberty returned. And they asked her what their opinion was of that, and she said, "We're not going to return the Statue of Liberty." She said, "You need to tell that member of parliament that if it wasn't for the United States, he'd be speaking German right now."
Yeah, it was a great response. That was a great response. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, Larry, you ready over there, buddy?
Yes, I am. Go ahead.
All right.
So here we are with the Midwesterner. So that is themidwesterner.com.
Yep, it's up.
Yep, it's where I get my news from. The U.S. Census, right? Foreign immigration driver of meager Michigan population growth as deaths exceed births. So what I want to do is I want to touch on this story.
Mm-hmm.
It says the number of immigrants moving to Michigan more than replaced residents fleeing to other states in 2024, with foreign-born residents increasing in nearly every county. Now, what they're saying, they're using the word immigrants here. I'm going to
talking about illegals.
Yes. They do this to confuse the issue. And all the media does this. They're not immigrants; they're illegal immigrants. And granted, maybe not all the immigrants they're talking about are illegals, right? But 95% of them are.
Correct.
So 57,000. The Michigan population has increased by 57,000, or 0.6%, right?
Yeah.
And,
I got to tell you, I like the Midwestern.
yes, with deaths.
It's a good publication.
Yes, it is. With deaths outnumbering births in 72 of the 83 counties that we have in our state.
And the thing is, I grew up in a time when I had friends that their grandparents had started out as migrant workers, come up and work in the fields, and they would go back down.
Right.
And then they would become citizens. And then they would have family members that would come and stay for the summer. And I'd see their whole house fill up for the summer. They do the work, do the harvesting, and then they'd all go back. Yep. We didn't have this straight up. And they came across with agricultural visas, whatever is that what the technical term was? Anyways, I grew up in the Saginaw Bay City area. There was the sugar beets and all that stuff. There were people like that. We're not dealing with that now. We're dealing with straight up people illegally crossing into this country, and the Democrats facilitating that and trying to benefit from it. Continue, Larry.
Okay, this next story is Donald Trump blasts horrible CHIPS Act, dimming Gretchen Whitmer's chances of federal corporate welfare funds. So Donald Trump came out hard against the Democrats' chip scam.
Mm-hmm.
And
explain the chip scam.
Well, I'm not familiar enough with it. I mean, we would have to read the article. Gretchen Whitmer has been trying to impose a corporate welfare plot on the good people of Mundy Township near Flint. They don't want it, and President Trump has ridden to their rescue as of March 4th. The issue of the creating helpful incentives and produce semiconductors, or that's what it is. That's your CHIPS Act.
Well, they want to put a mega site in there, and those folks are dead. I was involved with the Midwesterner. I actually was interviewed by them. A friend of mine, Jennifer Aaron, is the township supervisor there. She was voted in to put an end to that.
Yeah.
And they've been fighting tooth and nail on this. And she's got dissent within her own ranks. And I called out her township manager on that, because he was talking about, well, you can't. And I said, you can't. You make the decisions as to what's going on in your community, not the courts and not the state of Michigan. You do.
Right.
And he's like, well, how in the hell do you know? I said, because I've been through it before, okay? I lived in Tyrone Township when Waste Management wanted to put in a landfill right next to, Lake Shannon. And what they didn't realize was that Lake Shannon was a well-funded, well-organized community, and we had one huge war chest. And we were I was standing in a township meeting where it was packed out the doors, out into the parking lot, arguing with someone just like you. And trust me, I know. And the Midwesterner was recording all this. Okay, I went after this guy. They do not back her, but she's making inroads on this, and they're trying to force this down their throats. They want to manufacture chips there. It's not set up for it. As I said to them, if you really want to do that, why not take over one of these properties, the old Buick City plant site, 350 acres. Oh, but they want 1,000 acres. What for? What for? What do you need 1,000 acres for? 350 acres is a lot of property. Okay.
Right, and it's already set up with the infrastructure, with the trains, with the highway systems. It's already set up.
Yep, the water's there, the electricity's there to be able to power this thing.
Right,
do it there, and the people there would like to have that in Flint, not Mundy Township.
Well, it's the same thing they're trying to do here south of 96 with Latson. Where it's why are you bringing that in here? Go down to 96 and 59 where it converges down there. I know there's still pieces of big property down there by the airport that you could set up a whole bunch of stuff. It's because the land's cheap and somebody's going to get greased. Somebody's pocket's going to get greased over this stuff. Somebody owns a bunch of property in that area, and they're going to make out bank because the industrial is going to pay them 10 times what that property is actually worth.
Oh, you mean like for the solar farms?
100%.
Yeah, they're gonna. So people are gonna sell their property. They're gonna build these solar farms and completely destroy the property values of everybody that's around them.
Yep. Well, did you see the solar farms that got destroyed in the south? There was one that got the tornado came through and just wiped out like it was 500 acres or something like that of solar farms, and there's just a path right through the middle of it.
That's God. That's God working in His magic.
Yeah, it's quite wild. So they're trying to bring in again. We're not opposed to the chip manufacturers. I am opposed to solar. I think it's a farce.
Well, I'm opposed to us giving billions of dollars to a Chinese national
100%
company to come in here and build this plant.
Right.
And they're going to bring in their own workers from China.
Why? And that's Gretchen's because she's getting
paid.
She's getting paid.
Sure.
Whereas Trump's solution is, you know what? Taiwan's going to pay us to come in here to avoid tariffs.
Yeah.
Now, who's got the better solution?
Yeah.
Trump. Yeah. Who the company he goes, I'm going to put a tariff on your product coming in, unless you come here. Mm-hmm. But you're going to hire our workers.
Yeah.
You're going to hire our citizens to run your plant, and you're going to do it here. Yeah. And how many people has he walked up on a stage, various stages, and they go, "Yes, Mr. President, we are so yes, we want
to give $500 billion.
Yeah, we want to give $500 billion," and he's like, "Yeah, he's a good guy. I like this guy."
Yeah.
So
I didn't know Trump jumped in on the bandwagon, so I just learned something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. The next story that we're going to talk about here is the transgender activists are targeting 8 Democrats who joined in with the Republicans in a GOP House resolution banning boys from girls' sports.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and this is an alternative lifestyle publication that doxes Dem legislators for siding with Republican resolution. Transgender activists are turning up the pressure on 8 Michigan Democrats who sided with Republicans to call for a ban on biological males in women's sports. 66 members of the Michigan House of Representatives voted in favor of a resolution on Wednesday, urging the Michigan High School Athletic Association to comply with President Donald Trump's executive order banning biological males from women's sports. This is common sense.
Total common sense.
This is
how are we even having to debate
right
that a dude with a dick shouldn't be playing sports with a girl?
Yeah, did you see Megyn Kelly eviscerating that congressman, that Democrat congressman in a dress? Did you? Yeah, there was.
I saw some of the hearings where they were like, you will address them by their proper thing, and he goes, he's like, no, we'll just adjourn the meeting.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're not playing.
You're not going to tell me.
Yeah, I'm the chairman.
Yeah,
done.
I don't care how you want to live your life.
Yeah,
but
you're a
not,
dude, and you're going to walk in here and
if
be
you're
addressed as a dude.
I'm calling you dude. You're a him.
Right.
If you don't like it, hey, don't talk to me.
Right.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Get down the road.
How disrespectful.
Yeah.
Disrespectful.
If you think I'm going to call you,
I'm not calling you a chick.
Yeah. I'm not doing it.
No.
That's lying. I'm not going to lie. You want to lie, you can go ahead.
Just because you want to live a fantasy doesn't mean I have to be part and privy to it.
Correct.
That's right.
And you know what? If you're gonna pretend to be something you're not, that's fine. You can do that. But you're not going to force me in a situation to address you according to your fantasy. Right. It's no different than that famous video of the guy who walks into the store and is walking around, and the clerk politely says, sir, can I help you? It's ma'am. Dude with a huge Adam apple, because he's wearing a dress, the guy's supposed to address him as a woman. He's like clearly a dude. And he yells back at the other guy with such disrespect and disdain. It's like, no, you don't walk in here and make me assume what you think you are, and you're presenting yourself. Is it Halloween every day now? And you just get to dress up and I got to give you candy and pacify you and send you down the road? Bullshit. Yeah. Next one, Larry, lightning round.
Next one. Well,
is that it?
Yeah, there's another. I've got a couple out here.
Come on, Larry.
Republicans aim to eliminate gun-free zones for concealed pistol license holders.
Explain. I like it. On the surface. What is it?
Well, I used to have a sign up here that used to hang. It's
probably in the pile.
Are human target areas.
They are,
and that's what society has created, is areas where a criminal, gunman, mass murderer, is safe from retaliation.
Yeah.
So, and there's like school property.
Yeah.
Is the safest place for a mass shooter.
Yeah.
Along with
churches.
Yep.
And event stadiums.
Some churches, because they're private institutions, and there are a lot of churches that encourage their members to carry.
Right, but and a lot of people don't realize that in the state of Michigan, you actually have to have written permission to carry a firearm in church, and the pastor is in violation and subject to getting his flock in trouble.
Separation of church and state, Larry. Doesn't that apply?
No. Anything. If a church would take a piece of paper, put it on the wall, and put lettering up there that said armed doorman or whatever, whatever term that they want to use, and just put the people's names on it.
Yeah.
Okay, those people, that's a record. That's all that is required.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Very, very simple thing of a record of people that you allowed to carry, or maybe everybody. Maybe you allow everybody to carry in your church. Every church I go to, I'm pretty sure you can carry it.
What were you going to say, Patrick?
There's a church down in North Carolina where some guy came in with a semi-automatic weapon and started shooting at the pastor. And there were 5 parishioners that stood up with their sidearms and leveled him.
Yeah. The one shooting several years ago in Texas at a church, the one guy chased down the shooter after he'd broken in the church and shot him. And the only reason it took him so long is because he had his firearm in his truck and he didn't have it loaded. But he had an AR.
Yeah. And
he finally tracked the guy down. And they tried to make something out of it. And he's like, I was in my lawful right to track this guy down. Yeah. And he ended up being hailed as a hero for the whole thing. But they tried to make something because he wasn't lit in the church anymore.
Yeah.
The guy had fled and the parishioner had followed him, tracked him down, and took him out.
Right.
Yeah, you're bordering on vigilante right there.
Yeah,
and that's a problem because the threat had subsided.
Correct.
If the threat's still pending, like the guy was walking and shooting at the pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd have to look that one up. Maybe he went out to his vehicle while he was in there and came back in. Yeah. But there was something about it to where he was able to he had to go and retrieve his weapon Whereas if he'd have been armed in there, it would have ended much quicker.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but it says here that House Republicans on Tuesday introduced legislation to expand gun rights for concealed pistol license holders. Individuals, yes, if you can carry your pistons in your pocket.
Nice.
So if you're a mechanic and you're rebuilding engines, you can carry your pistons right into church now and on school grounds.
That's good. Glad to know that.
No, individuals who are licensed to carry concealed weapons, not pistons, undergo additional training, screening, and education. State Rep Mike Hoadley said in a statement, not only are these some of our safest and most law-abiding citizens, they're also most capable to take down a threat if one arises. And so that would be House Bill 4213.
An armed society is a polite society.
Well,
you put up a sign that says our staff may be armed. Enter at your, you have been advised. Those are places that we don't have mass shootings.
Right. Well, George W. Bush, when he was governor of Texas, instituted, he's the one that got rid of the CPL licenses in Texas and made it a constitutional carry.
Yeah.
And the crime rate dropped 24%.
Right.
Overnight.
Yep.
So, I mean, that just goes to say, Democrats are going to hate what I'm about to say. They really are. But
Do we have Democrats in our audience?
Oh yeah. The Saggies like to watch us. They like.
Hi, Saggies.
They'll make memes of our show and text them out all over.
I appreciate that.
X. Yeah.
Because every time you guys make memes, you suck at it so bad that we just get more. I get more subscribers each week. Keep making memes. I love it. Go ahead.
So that's all right. I forgot what I was talking about.
You said you were going to piss off the Democrats.
I know.
What's something you were going to say?
Oh, yeah. Might piss off the Democrats when I say something like this, but I don't ask people if I walk into a 7-Eleven, it's being held up, and I got my sidearm. I'm not going to say, "Are you guys Democrats?" And then walk out the door if they say yes. I'm going to protect the people that I need to protect.
100%.
And that means if there's Democrats in there that are being robbed, I'm going to be there to stop the robber.
Right.
And I'm not going to ask the robber, are you Republican or are you Democrat? Or the person that's being robbed if they're Republican or Democrat.
Right.
I'm just going to do what I need to do.
Exactly.
Period.
That's honorable.
So, so Gretchen Whitmer popped up in Tucson.
Tucson?
Yes, Tucson. To sell a book, and she's claiming that Kamala Harris did a remarkable job. Now, I don't know how she did a remarkable job at anything.
She's referring to her previous occupation of how she got into politics.
Spread Eagle? Is that the name of the book?
So, she apparently did a well enough job with Willie Brown to get another. She did the correct position with Willie Brown in order to get the next position.
Oh, you're talking about mastering tube steaks.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, if she thinks that she did a good job, the only good job we've ever heard she did was a blowjob. So
yeah. So the last story I'm going to talk about on this site today is Whitmer's Michigan unemployment climbs for the 10th straight month to 5.3%. 67,000 jobs lost in the last year. So that is Whitmer's record.
A whole bunch of the rest of the country's roaring back.
But look at it this way. The rest of the country's roaring back, and people are fleeing the state of Michigan, but the illegals are coming in.
They are. It's awesome.
Yes. But
great for property value.
I encourage everybody to go to the Midwesterner. That's right here, the Midwesterner. That is www.themidwesterner.news.
There we go. Okay. Here's what we've got tonight. We do have Larry.
Oops. There we go.
We do have a beverage tonight. I'll remove myself. There we go. This is Red Breast. It is a 12-year-old single pot aged single pot still Irish whiskey. Patrick, is there any copy on the back there?
Product of Ireland.
Yeah. Our signature bottling. 12-year-old boasts a complexity and distinctive qualities of a pot still whiskey matured in a combination of bourbon and cherry casks. Oh, sherry casks. With a distinctive red breast sherry style is a joy to behold. Tasting notes. It's got a complex, spicy and fruity aroma.
It is good. I kind of got into it on Saturday night until Jeremy said, oh, don't drink the whole thing. We got to have our Tuesday.
So, good friend of the band, and actually a brother-in-law of my guitar player, he brought it in and blessed the house. He said, here you go. And I said, oh, this is awesome. And then there was you and was it Dale? No, there was another gentleman.
The guy with the cowboy hat.
Yeah, his name's escaping me. Anyways, you were on opposite sides of the room, and I pointed. I said, you guys need to connect, and we both had some. And so they made me have a shot, and I'll tell you a nip, and I'll tell you what, it was that is some of the smoothest.
It is. It's very good.
It's very good. So I'll take a little bit. Let's do that and do a little bit of a. It's probably a little longer than necessary, but it was very nice.
Yes.
Yeah, not too much for me.
Not too much for me either.
So that must be yours, Patrick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. Give that one to Larry.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, here's to a beautiful red breast 12-year single pot Irish whiskey. It's very tasty.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy that. Sip on it and enjoy it.
Surprisingly smooth.
Yes, but it's got a nice afterburn.
It does, but it's got some here. Do it there. There it is. There's a red breast, and you can see how much is in there because I had to dial them back. On that.
It was Saturday night. We were celebrating.
St. Patrick's Day.
You know. And,
so there it is. That's a gorgeous one. So thanks to Don who brought that.
Yeah, I'm bummed out I
the
missed
party.
that.
You suck.
I'm bummed out I missed that.
You missed a good time.
Yeah, I'm sure I did.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Did your band play?
Yeah. That was one of the best.
Yeah.
I would say Stranglehold. That version of Stranglehold Saturday night was one of the best.
Yeah.
We've done in a long time.
You're a dick.
Hey, Ted,
it was.
Ted Nugent's is coming into town.
We had multiple people come up and going, dude, Ted would be proud. I mean, we shredded it, dude. We shredded it. And of course, we turn around and look at Matt, the drummer, and he's just like, I was off time. That sucked. We're like, shut up, dude. It was right on. But he's a hard critic on himself. So
a lot of what a good musician is his own worst critic.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize this when you're nervous about something. It just means that you care about it.
This is true.
If you don't care about what you're doing, you don't get nervous.
Right. What are you going to say, Patrick?
Ted's playing on August 29th in Paw Paw.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And then he's going to be playing here locally, more locally anyway, at Freedom Hill on the 31st.
Nice.
So got to sign up for one of those.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to go to one of them. Yeah.
I'd love to go to Freedom Hill this evening. I saw the last concert I saw at Freedom Hill was a country band, the one that does the song "Amazed." If you know the song "Amazed," and I fell asleep during the concert. My wife got mad at me. I can't believe you fell asleep at a concert. I said, "It's country music."
I'll tell you what. The band Double Wide Ride.
Yeah.
They played. They set up the stage, and it was all their equipment at the Cozy Inn. And they ran sound for me for when I came in there and played from 1 to 4. And I even played one song with. We did Tennessee Whiskey together. And tell you what, by the time I was leaving, I hadn't heard their full set, but the lead singer there, Dave, lead singer, lead guitarist. He was tearing it up, and it was country, but he was.
Oh,
and he had a
Lone
lower,
Star. Lone Star is the name of that band. Sorry, Jerry.
Okay, but he was tearing it up. A little bit lower baritone voice, and my voice was still intact, so I was hitting some highs. We were blending a little bit on Tennessee whiskey, so he had to help me out because he played it a little different. It was definitely the song, but he played it a little different, and I'm used to listening to Jesse now play the bass on it, so I'm looking for my cues. But once he dialed in the cues, it was a good time. But yeah, double wide ride, and they rocked it out over there at the Cozy Inn on St. Patrick's Day yesterday.
Yeah, don't we know somebody? We know somebody that knows Ted Nugent, don't we? Jet pilot or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think we do.
That is so good.
I like that. Yeah.
That is so good. I was surprised when you guys were like, because a lot of the whiskeys, you know, they can be
Harsh.
pretty harsh, and
well, the single malt Scotch is double distilled. The Irish whiskeys are triple distilled, so it's even smoother.
Yeah. So what does it mean when it says single pot?
Probably had it in one.
They had one pot when they mixed it first, because they say they put it in different casks.
Yeah.
So the different barrels.
Right.
So when they're aging it, the 12 years, it's in different barrels, but they brewed it in one single pot. They didn't transfer it.
I would imagine. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not an expert on that, but
Yeah.
so
You're more of an expert on whiskeys than I am, so I'll default to you. But
and you guess where they get their casks that they
from Kentucky.
That's right.
Yep.
Jack Daniels. They make them the best barrels right here.
That's kind of wild, isn't it? So I wonder about the history of some of the whiskeys, how they go back and how they deal with stuff. Just from that dynamic of what were they using prior to the whiskey industry here in the Americas? You know, did they have, you know, what was the impetus of, because they definitely had, you know, whiskey, the Irish whiskeys going. They had to be in early, right? I don't know.
Oh yeah, well, they've been around for generations, years.
Yeah. So maybe they were coming up together and were working together for. And how did they do during Prohibition? You know.
Yeah.
If they weren't able to get the barrels from here.
Well, the barrels are probably still being made. It's a different company that makes the barrels. Actually, it's not made.
Right,
by
but
Jack
aren't they
Daniels.
getting barrels that have already been? Aren't they getting barrels that have been used?
Sure. Yes, they have. Yeah.
So if they can't make it here, they're just getting the dry barrels that haven't been seasoned.
Well, the way they season them, sometimes they take the barrels and they burn the inside of it.
Yes. Yeah, to get that charring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you get that smoky effect. It's literally a smoky effect. Yeah.
Real art to making the barrels.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome. A couple more things on here. We mentioned the Statue of Liberty, them wanting the Statue of Liberty to go back. But one of the big news items, Putin has agreed to at least a temporary agreement to a ceasefire. While Israel goes ahead and ends the ceasefire by striking Gaza. So you've got you still got wars and rumors of war going on throughout the that area of the world, through Europe, the Middle East.
Well, as Putin has agreed to the ceasefire, some brainless idiots from Ukraine sent a drone over to Moscow and attacked them, killing some Russians. And I would say that Ukraine is pretty well. They're trying to keep this war going.
100%.
Yeah.
And what they want to do is keep the war going, and then they want to somehow justify the cash flow coming in. And Trump's already said, "I'm cutting off. You know, we're cutting off the funding."
So why is he sending them more weapons and money? I thought we should just cut it off and say we're done. We're done. We're not sending you any more money.
Right.
No more weapons. Nothing.
I think that was the initial thing, and I don't know I don't know all the intricate details of it. I think it's part of the art of the deal, where he's, you remember when Larry, when we got all upset in the first term, because he said, "Yeah, I'm open to red flag laws. I'm open to whatever."
Yeah, and there was another story in there I meant to cover, and I didn't, because you just mentioned. I'm not going to bring it up, but anybody that wants to go to the Midwesterner, Democrats in the Senate are gearing up to pass a bunch more red flag laws.
Right, but remember when Democrats in the in Senate, House and Senate, U.S. Senate, wanted to do red flag laws, and Trump goes, "Okay, let's talk about it," and everybody on the right side was pissed instantly.
Yeah, and then Trump dropped it.
And but he didn't. But it was part of the deal where he said, "Sure, everything's on the table," and they came in and they said, "We want all guns banned across the whole country." He's like, "No, it's not happening. Next." But he got them to come to the table and admit what they want. I don't know if it's not some of that stuff going on, the brinksmanship, the kind of the give people what he thinks and not do that. Yeah, you're right, Dale. Stranglehold is 50 years old, and Dale was one of the one. He said that Dale was here and said Dale and his wife were here and said we killed it. We tore that one up. You missed it, Larry.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to let you listen to the recording.
Yeah, I did miss it because my poor wife is recovering from the flu, and that's the only reason I wasn't here.
You know, you can have. I'm not looking for your excuses, buddy. You can do whatever you want. Let's see here. Let's go over here and see what we got.
Let's see.
Let's see what's going on over here.
Let's see. Do you have
Let's
it recorded?
See. Here's some. What browser am I on? I'm on that browser. Yeah, there we go. Here's actually some photos that Dino took of us jamming it out. They're at the.
Do you have it on
here
video?
At the man cave? I'm going to get to. I think the video's the last one in there. Look at that guy singing it.
Yeah.
Look at that guy playing a fiddle. Yeah. Look, the Irish. Look at that shit. There's Matt in there. It's a motion shot. See how he's all blurry?
Yeah.
And the blanket's completely stationary?
Yep.
Yeah. Got some good photos there. There's some of the crowd there.
Yep.
There's Dale. If you guys can pick him out. Where's Waldo? Where's Dale? There's a nice overhead shot. That's when we're doing the handoff between me and Jesse and the bass guitar. That's where we're getting ready to jam out another one. Let's see here. I know I got the video in there. Are we back to the beginning yet? Yeah, we're back to the beginning. Let me see if I put it in the notes, in the comments. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. And no audio playing, of course. There you go. So we did do the whole.
You needed a little more microphone.
Well, that was off his cell phone.
Oh, that's off his cell phone.
Everything's fully recorded and tracked in the computer. And it's tasty, very tasty. Whereas that's just off a cell phone. So it actually sounds pretty good even off the cell phone. But that's what we had fun with this past weekend, this Irish weekend rant. That we're having tonight. That's what we did. So it was pretty good. Lots of fun. I don't know what our next gig here is. Here at the Man Cave.
You ever do open mic where you let other folks come and jam with you?
We haven't done that yet, but since I did do it at the barn up there, the Barn Fest place, we've talked about it here. I'm open to the possibilities, but you really got to have somebody that can kind of help organize it better than me. I'm great at hosting things, but getting the word out there and making sure everybody can show up, that's
just have a friend who's a fairly accomplished musician and talk to him about coming out and maybe jam.
We definitely have times when we come in as a band and jam. We did it a few weeks ago where Tommy had some friends from out of town come in. And we had 4 or 5 extra guys, and just everybody just was swapping out and playing on different songs. And it was a Sunday afternoon. We cooked out on the grill, and so we ate together and we hung out.
Fun experience. There's a place in Flint called the Golden Leaf. I don't don't know if you've ever.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't know that it's there, you wouldn't know that it's there. It's a house. It's a bar, and you go in there, and it's like you're part of the family. I'm one of the few white faces in there. And it's like you're part of the family. They're extremely welcoming. The gal that owns the place, she's like, your name's Patrick. I like you. Sit down. What are you drinking? At any rate, it's all local talent. And, you're sitting there having a conversation with somebody and they say, wait a minute, I'll be right back. And they get up and they go up there and they start belting it out. They just kind of circulate.
They rotate
around. Constantly.
That's awesome.
On the drums, on bass guitar, whatever. And it's a blast.
That's
just
cool.
A great evening. The whole place up, you can feel the
floor.
floor.
You said floor just bouncing. Dude.
So,
yeah,
fun spot.
Look at this real quick, everybody. I want to point this out. If you look at the picture real close, right here.
That's Cozy Inn.
That's the Cozy Inn from September.
Yep.
Right there in the bottom corner, and you can't see my mouse doing it, but right where it says message.
GMA.
Just above that, it's Grandma Connie and Leslie standing there. That's the last big concert that Mom got to be at. Of course, she went to a couple of those open mic nights. She made me go with her, and I got up there and sang, and she sang with me. But there's back in September, and it's hard to. Some days I walk through, and it's hard for me to grasp. September and October, I was dancing with her, and by January she's gone. It's crazy.
And,
crazy.
And Chicago's gone.
Chicago's gone. Yeah. In fact, in the bio on our page here on the Single Barrel page, there it says right there is what it is. Is several years ago, Jeremy started jamming with Chicago Jim and Wojo and the 3OF, and then the other guys came into the band when Wojo had shoulder surgery. We brought Matt in, and then Chicago brought Brady in, and how the band got going, the current iteration of the band. So
Jim was a great guy. I liked Jim.
Yeah, he was great.
He was a good guy to talk to.
In fact,
he was down to earth.
Yep.
He was very talented. He was a good singer. He was a good player. Could play the saxophone. Could play the lead guitar.
That was his main instrument. The guitar followed after it. If you were to ask specifically my buddy Tony, he said that he was always very intrigued by his lead guitar work.
Yeah.
Because he played lead guitar like a saxophone player. So the phrasing of a saxophone is what Chicago Jim ended up doing on a guitar.
Yeah.
Where the note progressions, whereas a lead guitarist, whatever his background, would have come up with this different, you have different scales that you follow. Whereas Chicago tended to stay in that scaling of a saxophone player. So it's a little bit different dynamic.
No, it was cancer. Is that correct?
Yeah, he had brain cancer.
Brain cancer.
Yeah, they removed a huge tumor back. Well, it was, I want to say November, almost December.
Yeah,
a year and a half ago, or over a year ago. And they didn't give him very long, and he lasted like 15 months.
They didn't give him very long.
I think they gave him 3 months.
Oh,
initially,
and he way outlasted.
He way outlasted him. Yeah.
So what happened? Was he getting headaches? Is that why he?
He had been getting migraines for a better part of 4 years. Even when we were jamming together before he started to kind of withdraw from the band.
Yeah.
And then we could tell a couple weeks before he was found in his house, collapsed. He'd skated with us, and we could tell he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't the same guy, and he's out there playing hockey. And then he didn't communicate with anybody the following week about hockey, and they checked on him and oh yeah, and then he really went radio silent. And Scott went over there. He was supposed to go to lunch with him, and ended up getting to his house and opened the door, and there he's been on the floor for like 3 hours. He seizured and couldn't get up. And that's when they rushed him to the hospital, and they found a golf ball sized tumor in the frontal lobe.
Yeah.
And so from that point on, we went and visited him in the hospital, and he had an incision that went all the way around from his ear to the front. And It was wild because he would be talking to us.
Did he go to the doctors at all? You
Oh
said
yeah,
for
over
4
that time.
years.
Oh yeah,
Over the 4,
yeah.
and they weren't smart enough to do a CAT
Nope.
scan to see if anything
Yeah.
was wrong? Because they could have saved his life.
He complained of migraines for years.
Yeah.
He'd come to hockey and sometimes, or he'd come to band, or he'd call off band practice because he was seeing, we get those white or the flashes. They see in stars.
Yeah.
He would get that, and he would get migraines to the point where he couldn't do stuff.
I don't know if you remember this story, but my wife's little brother Frankie, Thanksgiving, didn't show up for Thanksgiving dinner. Picked up the phone. The family called him.
Right.
Called them all day Friday. No answer. They went to the house. They went to his house on Saturday morning. They opened up the door, and he was laying on his living room. He had his coat on, and a hat in his hand, and was dead on the floor in the living room. 52 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it stroke, heart attack?
Still waiting.
Okay.
Still waiting.
Still waiting. That's back in
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Well, we don't communicate with that family a lot.
Oh,
so
okay.
That side of the family.
So they may have information.
So they may have information. We haven't got it yet.
Okay.
Frankie had kind of a rough life, battling drugs and stuff. Battled weight, got really big, lost. He at one point was over 400 and something pounds.
Yeah, that can
So
has huge ramifications. Even when you start getting healthy, years later catches up with you.
Yeah. So we assume it was a heart attack, but that's an assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know for sure. So, but he's resting with the Lord now.
Yeah, George hung out with Dale. Georgie
hung out with Dale?
Yep. Georgie and Anna were here. Brought some great food. And he said, Dale says he posted 3 videos, maybe 4. Did you send them to me directly, Dale? Make sure you inbox me on a messenger and I'll get them posted to the page, or hit me up and I'll give you permission on the Single Barrel page and you can post them up yourself. But definitely send them to me. I got to keep archiving better on this. I'm horrible at that.
I just sent you a photo to your
and that was all Dino, my buddy Dean, which you guys will start seeing on the show. He's back in town after a couple years. But Dean, he's the one that on his own volition went and started, taking pictures. I could see him, I'm watching him do it while we're playing. And he's like, I got a bunch of good ones, boss. I'm like, all right, sweet.
So I sent you a picture of a young lady who was seen over the weekend. I'm not going to tell you who she is, but she has been working really hard, and I'm going to see if you can guess who she is, Jeremy. So this is a test for Jeremy. Who is this young lady right here?
Oh, I saw that earlier today.
That is Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Okay. She looks familiar, but I couldn't tell.
Yeah. She has really transformed herself in the last year. She looks incredible.
Yeah. She's lost what?
I don't know.
She's lost quite a bit of weight.
Yeah, I'm not going to presume a woman's weight. That's a no-no.
But sometimes they tell you.
I would never ask a woman that. I'm just saying.
Do we have? Should I pull up an older photo?
You know what? I can do that.
Pull up. Send me an older photo, and I'll do that. Just for we're not fat shaming.
There's only one problem with this here, right? And that is it tastes like more.
Oh, we're 11:15, Patrick. Get you a little more. We'll start as soon as Larry does this thing. We'll do.
Okay.
We'll go through some final thoughts and figure out where we're at. Oh yeah, isn't that tasty?
It is. Yes.
I would be up for more, but my throat and
it's probably good for your throat.
It's a little warm. I'm on the cough drops, and so I can't taste it as well as.
You're not sounding well, my friend.
No, it's you're belting it out.
I didn't know you were playing. And you were texted and said I was of the impression you were just going down there for wings after a hockey.
No.
And that's why I was like, oh.
Take a peek now, buddy.
Okay. Okay. For those of you, they're out in Facebook land.
Yep.
Okay, there's the before.
And there's
the
now.
after.
Yes.
It's not. I mean, I guess it's not that overly dramatic. She's definitely lost some weight.
Yes.
Taking better care of herself.
Oh yeah, look at her face.
Yeah.
She's definitely swum down.
Yes.
Okay.
Not an easy thing to do, trust me.
Not when you're a truck driver eating Twinkies and Diet Dr. Pepper all day long.
I don't eat Twinkies.
Just caramels and caramel.
Yeah, one of those a day. One of those a day ain't gonna hurt you.
One 2 liter.
Yeah.
All right. I think we covered all the news. Oh, look at this.
I do look forward to breaking down.
Duct tape.
Elon shows this as a visual representation of the Social Security database.
Yes.
If you guys can't tell, that is a telephone pole that has been duct taped back together.
There is an epidemic of Democrats shooting up or Molotov cocktailing
Tesla dealerships. I think shooting up is also in their purview.
Yeah.
They are shooting up as well.
I misspoke. They're using Molotov cocktails and vandalizing. There's been women arrested and other Democrats arrested around the country.
There's been men pretending to be women that have been arrested.
Probably. They tend to be doing the mass shootings. Men pretending to be women.
They are.
So the last 4 or 5?
At least a dozen.
Yeah. It's
Alex Jones got in the back of a Tesla pickup truck and rode 5 miles in the back of that truck with a megaphone, filming the whole thing to confront the protesters in front of a Tesla dealership in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah. Yeah. Their next giveaway on the store is going to be a Tesla, a black Tesla truck.
Yeah,
I heard them things are ridiculous expensive. I heard they're
Probably.
I heard they're over $200,000 for that piece of junk.
I don't think so.
The one he's giving away says 1776 on the side of it.
Yeah.
In black. And then he signed it.
I will tell you this. I don't like the look of the truck.
It's ugly, man.
It's ugly as hell. But Tesla, Elon Musk, if you're going to get an electric vehicle, those are some of the best ones to get.
Yeah.
If you're going to get an electric vehicle. But did you hear about this? I'll look at this. Let's see where my cartoons are. I gotta scroll down. Here it is.
Did they ever find out what happened with that? The veteran who had a Tesla truck that supposedly pulled up in front of a federal building and set off a bunch of fireworks and blew the truck up, and they thought it was him inside of it, but they think it's maybe another body. I can't remember the guy's name. I just remember the story.
Yeah, I stand corrected. They're $80,000.
$80,000, yeah.
It's still ridiculous.
So the one that they probably got souped up is probably 100.
Well, what are you going to pay for an F-150 pickup truck? They're not cheap either.
No, but they're a hell of a lot better truck than a Tesla.
Yeah, that's true.
Try and do what a Tesla will never do what
Right.
a Ford does.
No, that's true.
Right.
Never. But I mean that right here it says they start right around 81,985 and they go up to a 101,985 depending on trim and options, but most of the options are standard. So, but those things are so ugly you couldn't pay me to drive one. That thing's embarrassingly ugly.
Right.
The cars are sharp though.
Yeah, some of the Tesla cars. I mean, I'm just not a fan of electric cars. It's like,
I'm not either.
Yeah, I got no use for them. I guess if I was the kind of person where I lived in the city, and I didn't go anywhere, then an electric car would work fine for me.
Well, it makes me think, when I was in college, I drove Volkswagen Beetles.
Yes, those were cool cars.
Lived in Ann Arbor. The car was perfect for Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned to drive a stick in a Volkswagen Beetle, 1973 Super Beetle.
That's what it was.
I learned in a 1986 Ford Escort.
Did you?
I learned to drive stick.
Yeah. Yeah. My cousin taught me. My cousin Cheryl. I think I was, in 1973, I was 10. So.
God, you're old.
Yeah. So she was teaching me. We were on Harson's Island.
Oh, here comes the Harson's Island story now.
Yep, and we were up on Harson's Island, and I was teaching her about the pneumatics on the ferry because she kept talking about the hydraulics, and I'm 10. And I'm like, no, Cheryl, it's not hydraulics. If you listen,
It's
you hear
pneumatics.
air. It goes psh, like that. It's the air coming out. It's pneumatic.
Not hydraulic.
And and until her death, right?
She argued with you?
No, she talked about that conversation.
Nice.
She said, you were 10 years old. I was teaching you that you can drive a manual transmission without using the clutch, while you were teaching me, a college student, about pneumatics. She said there was something wrong with that. She would talk about that. But she died also of brain cancer.
Oh.
And she taught me a lot, actually. She taught me how to drive a boat.
Okay.
She taught me a lot. She was a bit of a tomboy. And then later in life, she was more than a tomboy.
Okay. enough said.
But I didn't know about any of that stuff back in that day.
Dale says Sarah's awesome either way, no matter what photo you look at.
Well, yeah. Absolutely.
And then he says White Castles. I don't know what that means.
Oh, I love White Castle.
You and Larry can get together somewhere else and do White Castle together.
Oh, nice.
Just not here.
Just not
Crunch
here.
burgers. Don't eat those and come to the.
No, don't come here.
No,
I'm not going to put up with that shit.
no, hell no. That's
Quite literally. Final thoughts, gentlemen. It's been a good show. We had a good weekend. I had a good weekend. You guys? Well,
Awesome.
Larry, you were kind of
I had
nursing mama, taking care of her.
Yeah,
Hey,
she was not feeling well, so I stayed home with her all weekend, and she did not.
And watch The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, we did watch The Handmaid's Tale, and she relaxed. To be honest with you, I probably could have pushed the envelope and came to the party, but I just wanted to make sure she was okay. And she didn't push anything with me. She relaxed, and she would ask me to get her a few things here and there, but I wasn't waiting hand and foot on her, and I just wanted her to get better.
Right.
And
That's good, man.
Yeah, she's recovered now and doing much better. She was out spending money bravely today.
That is a sign of a woman on recovery is when she knows how to go out and spend.
Yes. Yeah. I came home from work early. And
you're looking for a credit card and it's gone.
Yeah. Do you ever see the commercial with that famous actress, and she does the Capital One credit card, and she says, "What's in your wallet?"
Yeah.
You ever see that? What's in your wallet? That beautiful actress. What's her name?
She was married to Ben Affleck at one time.
Yeah, and I can't.
Jennifer
Garner. Yeah, she's a gorgeous woman. She talks about what's in your wallet, and whenever my wife is sitting next to me and that commercial comes on, I always say, "My wife's fingers."
Nice. I bet that scores you some big points, Larry.
Well, she always laughs.
Of course she does.
She says that's true.
She laughs because she's Korean.
Exactly. Exactly.
She knows.
All right. Final thoughts. Sign my paper. Let's pass that around.
Final thoughts. Sit back and enjoy the ride. The winning hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
And it's not going to stop any point soon. I think the courts are overstepping their constitutional authorities. I think Trump is solid on most of the stuff that he's doing. I do have concerns about the transgender stuff. Although, I'm being ex-military, I'm a strong believer in the military needs to run the military, and you need to keep the woke politics out.
Yeah.
Because if you can't get people to go into the military to serve,
then you're not
going to have anything.
100%.
What are you going to start drafting people now?
Right.
Well, people are going to avoid the draft because they're not going to want to be serving under a bunch of whack jobs.
Correct.
It's just that simple. The military life is far too difficult and far too dangerous to start playing with people's lives. It just is. And if a soldier can't look to his chain of command with admiration and trust, then you got nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you got nothing. And this, if you want to live a life, if you're a guy and you want to dress as a girl, you go right ahead. I hope you're happy.
Right.
But you're not going to tell me what to do.
Right.
You're not going to be in a position over me. And if I was in the military, I wouldn't take orders from you. Because those orders could cost me my life, and I want to make sure the person I'm taking orders from. To give you a perfect example, all right, I was transportation was my primary MOS. Demolitions was my secondary. It's what I did in Germany. When I was in Fort Hood, Texas, I had a lieutenant. I was driving the Jeep, crawl underneath my Jeep and cry like a baby. Literally crawl under the Jeep and cry like a 2-year-old.
Did you inflict so much mental anguish
by
your behavior
I ate
that
White
caused
Castle.
it? You ate White Castle.
Oh, jeez. And those farts sink.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
No, I'm kidding. No, there was an accident at the campsite. Somebody forgot to set the parking brake on one of the trucks, rolled down the hill and crashed into another truck.
Somebody get injured?
No, nobody got injured.
And that set this dude off.
Yeah. He had me pull over, crawled underneath the Jeep and cried. Got back in the Jeep, told me if I ever told anyone, my career would be over.
Okay. You just told somebody, I guess your career's over.
Yeah, well, my career's been over. I didn't give his name.
This is true.
Well, we can figure it out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't even remember his name at this point, and it wasn't a month after that where the command sergeant major decided to make me his Jeep driver. So
you were out of that area.
So
anyways.
I was out from him, and then the battalion commander snatched me from that, and then I got cut orders for Germany. Broke up with my girlfriend and went to Germany.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
The life of Larry.
The life that's 1983. A short year down at Fort Hood, Texas.
Okay.
And I think Trump's changing the name back to Fort Hood.
It needs to be.
It's Fort Cavazos now.
Whatever.
There was a General Isidro Cavazos, which I actually went through basic training with Isidro Cavazos III.
Okay. Interesting.
That's his grandfather.
Okay.
Yeah, we served in basic training together. Alpha 4-3, 1982.
I think there's places and times where you rename things, but I think you rename a road here or there.
Yeah.
To rename it's like you wouldn't rename West Point something else,
Yeah, the woke Biden administration renamed quite a few military bases. Actually.
Yeah, I think Trump came right in and changed that back.
So
Patrick, final thoughts?
Isn't it Mount Denali, or
yeah,
it's going back to being
Mount McKinley.
Yes.
McKinley.
Yeah. Well, and I think Trump has really done his due diligence on what McKinley was able to do with his tariffs, as well as some of the other things he did with his presidency. And he wanted, I think because he saw the value in the tariffs and how well he's using them right now, that he wanted to hearken back to that, and renaming Mount McKinley, Denali back to Mount McKinley is a definite easy way to express that. So final thoughts, sir.
Well, I'm impressed with the administration, what they've done so far, and I think it's going to continue rolling, at least for the next couple of years. My only concern that I have is the financial market, and the down beat that has been enduring. My concern is twofold. Number one, it's affecting my money, and I'm sure everybody else's here.
Right.
But even more than that is, if it doesn't bounce back after this tariff war and trade war settles down, that is going to cost us in midterms.
Well, I do know that they tried to crash it on purpose last week, and it did go down significantly, but it rebounded. It could have been a lot worse.
Well, there's a lot of the media is creating this firestorm of panic for something. Tariffs. I wish they would have implemented tariffs years ago. I used to haul steel. Right. Well, there's not very much steel that's made in the United. Most of the places that I just 10 years ago, most of the places, or 12 years ago, most of the places that I went to are now gone. Like Claymont Steel, where I used to haul out of every week, twice a week. I would haul out of Claymont Steel. I would pick up. I would pick up at in Harrow, Canada. I'd pick up a load of tube steel, and I would take it and I would deliver it USA Steel and a couple other steel companies, either down in Connecticut, like Hartford, Connecticut, or down in Bridgeport, Connecticut, or out in Boston. I'd go out that way or up into Maine, to these steel companies, and then I would run empty all the way down to Claymont Steel. I would pick up steel plates and bring them back up to Anchor Danley, either up in Ithaca or in downtown Detroit. And then I'd be home for the night on Wednesday, and then or on Tuesday I'd be home for the night. I'd get up Wednesday morning. I'd do it again. And I was running hard in those days. I was burning the tires on that truck, doing that circle, going all the way up and coming back around twice a week, making really good money hauling that steel. But what these tariffs are going to do is equalize the cost of the
I'm
steel.
behind it. I'm behind it. I think we need to have a balance the trade deficits that we have with China and with Canada, Mexico, out of control.
Yeah.
And so we need to reel that in.
What if we would have put tariffs on TV sets?
Right.
30 years ago.
I think it's incredible that.
Give me an American-made TV set. Is there one?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. You had
Even the
Curtis
ones-
Mathis. You had RCA. You had
Even the ones that have an American name on them are made overseas.
right.
It cracked me up on the steel stuff. Not cracked me up, but I was like amazed that even on the steel that you had the countries that have no iron ore naturally in their own territorial land are Japan has no iron ore, and they're one of the biggest producers of steel.
Cheap.
So they're getting the iron ore from another country. They're refining it, smelting it, putting it into whatever, and then shipping it back. And that's somehow cheaper than it being
made here,
milled and made and processed here, where it's actually pulled out of the ground.
You're right.
And I grew up around that.
Yeah, the UP.
But yeah, my
UP
family's
is
from the
a
UP.
giant iron ore
Exactly.
mine.
My family grew. They're around there. I was around iron ore. I remember.
Paulding, Michigan.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up around that idea and that concept. My
Aren't
grandfather
there
working in the
thousands of
mines.
iron ore mines up there?
Yeah,
Literally thousands.
But most of them are shut down now.
Yeah. Are they shut down because they're empty, or did the lead or?
They've found other iron mines. They like to do a lot more open pit mine than they do underground mines now.
Strip mining.
Yeah, they do a lot more strip mining than they do underground drilling. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
You good?
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. Do all that stuff. thealexjonesstore.com/this is my brain. If you want to support, there's great products on there. I use them. Patrick uses them. Larry's going to start using them because we're going to make him get off the.
They got a nitrous oxide product there. Too.
Oh yeah, the nitric boost. I love that.
Nitrous oxide. We can sniff it.
It's in a pill, Larry. But okay.
Nitrix.
Yeah, the nitric boost. Yeah, I do the nitric boost and the turmeric. I try to do those on a daily basis. I take my brain force just before I go into hockey, sometimes just before the show to keep my brain moving.
That was a good thing, back in my drag racing days. We go take our Mustangs to go drag racing, and then if you had nitrous left at the end of the day, you could sniff it.
And that explains everything, folks. That is.
We understand, Larry, now.
Now we understand. Now we understand everything that's going on. So thanks for tuning in tonight, you guys. Like, share, subscribe, hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate you tuning in, and we will catch you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
This is my brain.
Dad, that's an egg.
Yeah, that's an egg.
Honey,
Dude.
that's an egg.
Seriously.
That's an egg.
It's a metaphor.
It's still an egg.
That's an egg.
I would challenge you.
That's an egg.
I know my brain is not actually an egg, okay? It's a metaphor.
Metaphor or not, that's not your brain.
It's just an egg.
Una cerveza para mí. My egg is my brain.
Can I at least have some bacon, maybe some sausage with that egg, though?
Oh, I want some bacon.
I want crepes.
Have some bacon and pancakes with that egg.
I'll take it with cheese.
Extra large brown cage-free eggs.
Can I have your brain with hot cakes?
A sausage and a little toast and potato.
That would be great.
Does it have antibiotics?
I don't know, man. I'm not good at this shit.
Well, they got to be able to resist some diseases.
You resist the disease.
Has it got any hormones?
Maybe. It's cage free.
Vegetarian?
Maybe.
Are they vegan?
No, I eat steak.
Never apologize and never explain.
Never apologize.
Never apologize and never explain.